Sultan to get the special collection of Superman Day.
Been doing it since the 90s.
Sultan, كيف حالك?
Alhamdulillah, how are you? Alhamdulillah.
Sultan, what do you have for us for Superman Day?
Action Comics #1, the original, with the stamp of Superman Day 2025.
Okay, see it everybody. Nice. Okay, what else,
And
Sultan?
there's also Damora edition, the same Action Comics #1,
Nice.
tribute to the old comics, Action
Okay.
Comics. And the final is the foil for the Action Comics #1.
Right, great. There's also here mentioned Superman Day. You can see everybody.
And also for any customer, there is a freebies, Superman for All Season #1, and Superman All Star #1.
Okay,
These come free for Superman Day.
great. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Sultan. Thank you.
You're much welcome. Happy Superman Day.
Happy Superman Day, everybody. So these are a new addition to my collection. See you soon, inshallah. And happy Superman Day. Thank you.
So this is a Man of Steel poster signed by Henry Cavill, Tom Welling, and I need to look up his name, but Alice Garvin from Superman Lois.
This is the history that has been recorded over here by none other than Son of Sparta. Okay, so you guys can see this is Henry Cavill's signature on top, the one in the blue, and then you have Tom Welling. His signature is at the bottom. Then you have Alex Garvin. All Superman fandom got together, and even though not a lot of people showed up, but what was your experience beyond that?
About it.
In what way?
Immediately. It's always good to talk about something you love. Superman has have a child history. So even though we're three people, but we enjoyed it. And not just for
God bless you all for coming in and basically always showing the passion that you guys have always done. When it comes to Superman or any other superhero character, it would not have been possible without both. Believe me, it's not just one man's effort or something like that, it's a collective effort. As long as there are people who feel passionately about their favorite superheroes, more is on the road. Your thoughts?
I'm just going to echo what's been said, that we're grateful that this has been organized, because putting something together in itself is a bit of an ordeal for a lot of people. So we're glad to have been able to spend these few hours together and have some deep discussions about the origins of the character, how it's manifested and progressed over the years, and where it's going. We've had some great talks about that. So thanks for putting that together, and we're hopeful we'll have many to come, and lots to look forward to again in July. We're gonna have a lot of discussions before the movie, not many discussions during the movie, but hopefully afterwards we'll get together with the fans and we'll talk about what we saw, and we'll talk about the future of this character with DC, how we'll interact with the bigger universe, and things go.
We are also grateful to Figures Master and Sultan Sahib, owner of Commerce, for actually organizing something, having a small meetup in Riyadh in Commerce store. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. And let's wait for another year. But right now, it's time to be really excited because July is just like a month and a
I'm
half.
still assuming it's June. Isn't it?
No. Oh, that's Man of Steel.
And
Over 10 years ago.
thank you, Son of Sparta,
We
for
never
bringing.
know. It might be June.
I would have loved that. I would love nothing more than see the movie today.
Thanks, Son of Sparta, for bringing in this piece of history. I actually saw Henry Cavill's autograph, one of the best Superman actors to play Superman, and thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And stay tuned for July because we're going to be definitely having a watch party in Jeddah and If you haven't joined us on our WhatsApp community, make sure to do it now. Link is in the description because we don't want you to miss out on upcoming events, whether it's for DC or not. Thank you.
And in fact, this year's last Superheroes of Arabia live broadcast, which is currently being broadcasted on my YouTube channel and on X. I have the pleasure of having with me Abu Suluh, all the way from Al Ula. Abu Suluh is a content creator. He has been creating content for quite some time for superheroes and anime. Then I have, all the way from Riyadh, Crimson Maher. So you're looking at Abu Suluh and you're looking at Crimson Maher. Both of these guys, superhero fans, Superman fans. And today we are going to be basically asking each other, discussing with each other, what did they feel when they watched the Superman trailer few, I think last night or the night before. So let me start out. First of all, guys, thank you very much for coming in. Crimson Maher, I'm gonna start with you. Superman trailer, Superman by James Gunn. What's your take?
I mean, honestly, ever since yeah, first of all, thank you for having me on your channel today. It's a pleasure to be on the channel. I think this is the second time that I was on your channel, I believe.
It's been more than second time, but on my live broadcast,
Yeah, first time.
This is the first time.
Yeah,
And the pleasure is ours, Maher.
thank you, thank you. So, ever since they dropped the, let's call it the motion poster,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and it immediately clicked. Like this is someone who knows what he's doing. Okay, like he knew how to grab all of us immediately before even dropping a teaser for the teaser trailer. And I'm pretty sure it was that humming of the John Williams theme that grabbed all of us,
Yes.
all of us, Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve, Superman fans. I mean, just to quote another creator that I love, he said that the John Williams theme, even if some people might not want to see it again in a Superman movie, it's wrong to think that, because that is basically like, there's never, if there's ever been a piece of music that is essentially Superman, it is that Richard Donner, John Williams piece from the Superman movie. So
Would it be fair to say? Would it be fair to say that it has become timeless classic?
absolutely, it's not just timeless; it's just tied with the character at this point. Like, anyone who attempted to create a new theme for Superman ended up just, using at least some part of the John Williams theme, because it's that iconic. It's iconic. The word here is iconic. It's the same as the Darth Vader theme in the Imperial March, same as the Star Wars theme in general. Like, a lot of what John Williams creates is very much iconic. And then from there, when they dropped the teaser trailer, I mean, I don't want to, like, immediately go into the nitty gritty details of it. But if you've been following the, let's call it, James Gunn DC universe so far, okay, this speaks from a different tone and is clearly meant to be that way. Like, we'll get to that later. I don't want to jump all the way to the middle of the conversation. But I'm not just excited. I won't lie. I had tears in my eyes just watching stuff there in the trailer. Like, yep, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. This is exactly what a Superman movie needs to be. Hello, guys. Anyone still
I'm
there?
actually here as well. I didn't hear.
No, I lost my
I
connection.
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, Maher, sorry, I lost you a few seconds ago. Can you just repeat what you were saying?
Guys, sorry. Guys, can I be just off? I'll be here, but I'll put you in mute because I have to take from the pharmacy my medicine. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
Okay, I
okay.
just close the camera and I'm here. I just need like 2 minutes. Okay. Thanks.
Yalla, Habibi, we're waiting for you.
No worries, man. No worries.
Okay. So, Maher, sorry, before my connection got interrupted.
Sorry, I'm being attacked by my cats. Give me. Let me just close that door again. He's attempting to open it. 1 second. He just does not like it when I close the door. Anyway, so I don't remember I don't know when I dropped off there, but basically what I was saying is that if you've been following the James Gunn DC movies and series, you know that the tone and everything that was in that trailer is kind of differs a bit from what has been presented so far, and that's exactly the point.
Yes.
And I think it is everything that I've ever wanted to see in a Superman movie. Like I'm like, yep, that's it. This is it. I'm excited again.
You mentioned something really important, and that is basically like this is what you wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please elaborate a little bit more on that? Because you are a comic book reader. You are somebody like all of us here that who grew up in Saudi Arabia during the tough times when we couldn't get the comics as easily as we could. The Arabic comics were okay, but not satisfying to that level. So, what was it that you were looking for in a Superman movie that you saw in the trailer?
To be honest, I was specifically what I was looking for is for the character to embody what the character has always been about, which is being the like everything about the trailer tells you that this is a character coming in to a world where superheroes already exist.
Mhm.
They're there, and but most people are not really like they've gotten cynical about
Yes.
it all. Like if you've watched the Suicide Squad, if you watched the Peacemaker show, or if you
Yes.
recently started watching the Creature Commandos, you understand the tone, the universe that this Superman exists in is in a dark place and is looking for that, say, ray of light, like that ray of hope that the Superman character embodied throughout its history. And that's what I felt watching this. Okay. Like, and on top of that, it is not shying away from being a comic book movie. Like, it's,
That's the thing.
yeah, it's not shying away from being that. Like, seeing the other characters there, I was very excited to see Mr. Terrific. I'm very excited to see Guy Gardner because I love Guy Gardner's character wherever he ends up, and of course Hawk Girl, and hopefully all of this redeems the characters that have been very much misrepresented
Yes. Yes.
for quite a while in the movies. Okay, and this speaks to a whole level of where DC as a brand stands right now. Okay, whether you're watching the cartoons, the animated shows, you're reading the comics, and now hopefully in the movies, DC is going through a renaissance of the sorts.
Yes.
Okay, it is in the best it's been for a very, very long time. Okay, like DC hasn't been this good since I thought, like, I don't know, was Final Crisis maybe? Like
Yes.
just before New 52, like like since before New 52, let's say.
New 52, I think, is a lot of people might hate me for saying this, but New 52 is basically that point in time where our superheroes changed. I
Mhm.
don't know if they changed for the better or for the worse, but they were not the ones we grew up with.
Yeah, yeah. No, look, I am not against change, okay, at all. Like any change is very much welcome as long as we get good content out of it, good stories. I hate using the word content. So it's stories, okay? We're talking about stories here. We're talking about characters. Like, as long as the whole story is good, okay? I'm not really particular about how the characters have changed, as long as we're telling a good story. I mean, anyone who knows, like, and you know very well as I do, okay, that the Heath Ledger Joker,
Yeah.
okay, as iconic as a character he is, as amazing as the movie that he was in was,
Yes.
is not the Joker. Okay, it's not the Joker in any way we've ever known him.
Yeah.
Okay, if you've been following the Joker throughout the history of the comics, the Heath Ledger Joker would have been a very strange version of it.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yet it worked because in the hands of good storytellers, okay, any character can work. And this is where James Gunn was a great pick for taking the wheel for the DC universe, because this is a guy who can take the most obscure characters
Yes.
and turn them into world class characters. I mean, the things he did for the Guardians of the Galaxy, characters that no one who's read, who outside of who've read comics would even have known or heard of or thought of.
Full,
Okay,
full disclosure, I don't have a single Guardians of the Galaxy comic.
not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people do. Okay, and then he turned them into this huge franchise that people love. Like, you have kids who love Groot, who love Rocket, who love Drax, who love Peter Quill, and these are characters that, I mean, with the exception of Drax, who had a role to play in Infinity Gauntlet, okay, the other characters never had any big role to play in the Marvel universe.
True. Aside
Yeah.
from Mantis, I think aside from Mantis.
Mantis, Gamora, like the whole Thanos, adjacent characters, Mantis, Gamora, Nebula, and Drax. Yeah, those characters were known to comic book readers because they were involved in a lot of the things that Thanos was involved in. But the other characters, unless you were into the cosmic Marvel universe, you wouldn't really know much about them.
True.
Okay? And he made them into huge characters. And then you come and give this guy the biggest superhero ever. Like, I would, like, there are two characters, okay, that I'm willing to argue are objectively, not subjectively,
Right.
not by opinion, but by pure fact, are the greatest comic book characters there is. And those are Superman and Spider-Man. Okay, Batman as well.
Yeah.
But like, if you want to add Batman, but these are these three characters define what superheroes are.
No
Okay, and
doubt.
so you give James Gunn Superman, and you watch what he does with it.
Okay, Maher, I just need to hold you there because you've shared some very valuable points, which I basically want to uh, discuss them and dive into these points a bit further. Abu Suluh,
Yes, can you hear me?
yeah,
You're
we can hear
connecting.
you, but we can't see you.
Hold on a second. Let me see what's going on. I'm trying to figure out something.
Yeah, now we can see you, Habib.
Are you?
Yeah,
I can't see
okay. Abu
myself.
Suluh,
See, sorry.
uh, you
Because I'm
saw
doing
the
a medicine here.
Superman trailer. You
Okay.
saw the Superman trailer while you are in Al Ula. What's your take on it?
Okay. So, first of all, mashallah, Maher, he said things very, very professional, especially like you and Maher. Let me be honest with you. I'm not like you guys. You are very expert in regarding for the comics, and sometimes I call you to ask about some comic book, especially some stories and this stuff. But I would like to point some stuff from my point of view as a person who likes to see what. Okay, I'm gonna put it in this way. What's the goal from this movie? If this movie is gonna be the just solo movie, or this movie is gonna be for a long running project. And if it's gonna be solo, it's gonna be succeed. And long project is gonna be like something like in what Iron Man did in Marvels when Iron Man was in the Marvel movies. It was amazing. Okay. So hold on a second. Let me just park my car here so I can speak freely. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed for years, a lot of the comic book fans has an issue regarding for their superheroes because the movies don't get what the superhero are worth for. Special these days we have what we call it right now. All the CGI we can use it, all the technology we can use it. But the problem is the story quality, and that's usually a huge thing. What I saw in the trailer was something promised me and gave me promises, a lot of promises. Something is going to be really interesting. First of all, the Green Lantern that they use. I'm not that familiar with his background that much, but I know maybe he's the third or the fourth Green Lantern.
Right.
Uh, when I did some research about it, some people said his backstory is really interesting. He's not like Hal Jordan, not like the others. He's completely different. Other things, the Hulk gear, uh, maybe I like the Hulk guy better than Hulk gear as a character, but this character here, what's the goal for that? And if you noticed that the Superman, it doesn't show me the beginning of Superman. It showed me like what we had in the movie of the Batman for the second year, not the first year, second year or third year, and that's very, very interesting. And I think that's gonna save a lot of times because let's be honest, I'm okay. I'm gonna talk about the fans. The fans are so tired regarding for to repeat over and over again for the story for the beginning of the time, of the beginning of the story. Other things I could tell. Uh, the beginning of the trailer was something took our attention. We saw Superman was beating up, and in a way that Superman asked for his dog to take him home. Like it's either Superman was beating up, or he went so badly, but he wants to go home. This question, that fight, when was it? Was this fight in the beginning of in the movies, and he win, or was the end of the movie and he win, or was beating by someone he has to run away? And let's be honest, he doesn't have to be run away, but running away sometimes is smarter than staying. Other things I say it. I'm not gonna give a lot of hopes for the movie. I know of comic book fan don't like that, but let's be honest. The movie that even James Gunn he works on it like the Flash was not something we wanted. One of the reasons why I watched the Flash it was about the Batman. The
Yeah.
female Batman.
Sorry, dude, but James Gunn didn't work on the Flash.
Really? I thought he worked
Yeah,
on it.
he did.
No, James Gunn only worked on the Suicide Squad. That's the only movie he did for DC.
The last one.
The last Suicide Squad movie,
Okay,
yes.
yeah. But what did you have any like? I'm not talking about as a director, as a as like someone in charge for the film.
He wasn't in charge when the Flash movie was made.
Okay, that's interesting point. Uh, so let's see what he's gonna do. But it seems like he wants to make Superman character as human as he can. That's my own point of view. Like that's how I feel it. Because the way
Basically,
the story is shown. Tell me.
basically, he wants to make him the iconic superhero that
Okay.
he always was.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, I wrote like I
And
read about this.
because I don't have comics by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster in their original form,
Hmm.
uh, I couldn't help but notice a lot of references not only to what Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster did, but also what John Byrne and Carl Castle had done in the 80s.
Mhm.
Maher, what do you have to say on that part?
All right. So there's one point that you mentioned, Absol, which is exactly the point. Superman is human. Okay. You see, there's the one thing that non-comic book fans misunderstand about the character is that what makes Superman an amazing character is how human he actually is.
Yes,
Okay. Put the superpowers aside, everything else about him is very human. It is very grounded. He is very grounded. He is very human. He is very much like what he does is he never aspires to greatness. He just inspires it. And
inspires.
that's what we are seeing here.
Okay, and what about the shades of comic books? But before you answer, Maher, I want to convey to you a message from Sultan Saad. Uh,
Okay.
he's saying, looking good, Maher.
Thanks, man.
And according to him, Sultan is saying that best trailer ever.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. And just to answer some of the points that also Jose, yes, this is going to be the Iron Man of the new DC movie universe. Okay, the new DC movie universe soft started with the Suicide Squad. Okay, continued with Peacemaker, but with the official beginning being the Creature Commandos animated show.
Yeah.
Okay, so to answer your question, Wise, uh, I see a lot of characters in there. Like I see a lot of versions of the character in there. There's, of course, no question, the definitive Clark Kent of Christopher Reeve
Yes.
is definitely there
Yes.
because you can't. I mean, the guy basically redefined the character. Right? Like everyone who's ever written a comic or a movie or a series about Superman since 1978 has basically written him as the Christopher Reeve Superman. So
No doubt. No doubt.
yeah, and that's that I can see that clearly. I can see a bit of the Justice League show in there. I mean, they're clearly the to answer another of Salah's questions. The characters you're seeing are part of a group called the Justice League International, and those characters are there in the trailer.
Both of them, both Hawk Girl and Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and who appears for just a glimpse, Metamorpho,
Metamorpho and
and Mr.
Mr.
Terrific,
Terrific.
and Mr. Terrific.
he's Mr. Terrific isn't with JLA.
JLI, yeah.
No, JLI or JLA.
JLI. This is
JLI.
Justice League International, not Justice League America.
Not Justice League America.
Yeah, this is Justice League International.
So basically, Abu Suluh, I'm really glad you raised this point that is this movie gonna be like Iron Man, and Mahir thinks it that way. I personally feel it that way, that this is going to be like the Iron Man for MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
But
I hope
more
so.
importantly,
I hope so.
yeah, but more importantly, one of the added information is that we saw JLI. My question to Mahir and Abu Suluh is that Iron Man kick-started the formation of the Avengers. Will this movie, Superman, and I'm talking exclusively about Superman, not Creature Commandos or anything else, will this be the starting point of Justice League of America?
Honestly,
I have to answer, Vic. Please, Mahir. You are very
no,
deep
please,
subject.
man. You got to say a few words too.
Mahir, you first, then I'll go to Abu Suluh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Mahir, continue.
So I think in the world we're living in right now, with how the movies are international and have a big global audience, I think what we are going to start seeing is the Justice League. No America, no international, no Europe. Okay, so we're going to. Is this going to be the start of the Justice League movie? Now that is a very good question. It's very. Um, the thing is, what we don't know right now, until what we know is that a lot of the heroes who would be a part of the Justice League already exist in this universe. They're not going to suddenly come out, okay? And we know that we're getting a Lanterns series, which is going to have Hal and John. We're going to get, clearly Guy Gardner is there. So the Lantern Corps exists in this universe. The only characters that we haven't seen hinted at all, either here or Creature Commandos or in Suicide Squad or anywhere else, are the speedsters. Okay? Yeah. The speedsters are the only ones that we haven't unless I'm wrong and I missed a reference to them at some point. But the Amazons have been referenced in Creature Commandos, so we know that the Amazons exist in this universe, and the Lanterns clearly exist in this universe. So a huge part of the Justice League is already in the universe. So yeah, that's what I gotta say.
Sorry, Abu Suluh. Now, what I want to ask you, what's your take on this? Do you see this building up towards the formation of the Justice League?
Well, okay. Let me tell you this. First of all, I always believe in how you do it as an administration. Maybe because actually I have a experience in project management, so there's something I always think about it in my daily life, in my
Which
work
is?
in tourism, even the movies. Okay, how can you take this project to make your main goal? If they could do something, let's be honest, they said, okay, let's make it as an opening ending. Okay, it could be either to build it as a Justice League. If they succeed in the storyteller is very important, my friend, very important. How to tell the story of Superman and his Justice League for the future. It could be the kickoff. But the question, how can they play it? Are they going to play it in the way like Marvel, for example, when they start Iron Man as a solo movie, but they didn't mention anything about the guy for the other superheroes. Maybe they have Easter eggs, but Easter eggs is something in every Marvel movies, even Justice League movies, they have it. Like Superman 2 for What's his name? Not Andrew Garfield. Before Andrew Garfield. 2005. I forgot the name, man. I'm very bad with names.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. Yeah, Tobey Maguire. When they mentioned about Doctor Strange, this was taken, and they never mentioned. So they may gonna do Easter eggs. It's good to do Easter eggs, okay? When you do the Easter eggs and the people love the movie, you call it.
Oh, so what?
Okay,
I think,
it's fun to make Easter eggs.
yeah,
It's
he's
fun.
back.
Tell me.
Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
Mahir,
What?
I just need to hold you for a minute. Sorry, Abu Sulu, you're done with your point?
Yeah, I just like saying is about the storytellers and how they use the Easter eggs.
Okay. Mahir, I would request you to hold on to your point because I need to welcome another Superman fan all the way from Al Khobar. Alhamdulillah, he has finally been able to join us despite his busy schedule. Please welcome Super Khalid.
Hello.
Hi.
Khalid,
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce you to Crimson Mahir. He's in Riyadh right now. Abu Suluh, he has joined us from Al Ola, and
Hello.
all of them are Superman fans like all, you and me and everybody else. I want to take a, how should I say, a quick take from you. You saw the trailer. What do you have to say about Superman trailer?
I've seen the trailer, and this is how I reacted when I saw the trailer. I was very happy. You know, I was smiling, and even I felt a bit of emotion as well.
What caused that emotion?
I mean, there was so much heart to the trailer, like so much heart to this version of Superman.
Nice. Okay, Khalid, I'm gonna come back to you, but I have to take a point from Mahir.
Sure, no
Mahir,
worries.
yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, welcome, Khalid. Pleasure to meet you.
It's a
Uh,
pleasure to meet you as well.
it's nice to see that almost all of Saudi Arabia is represented here on this call. So,
Alhamdulillah.
uh, so the point I was just wanted to make to Abu Sulu is Iron Man came at a very, very different time. It was a time where essentially the superhero genre was dead. Like it was considered dead. It was considered not the Amazing Spider-Man didn't do well. The X-Men movies were on their way out. There were there weren't any other projects that were being talked about, and Iron Man was actually made on a small budget. Like the entirety of the budget went to bringing in uh, Robert Downey Jr.
Terrence Howard.
And Terrence Howard into the movie, and they what they did was start with a character who is by all means, if like forget everything you know about Iron Man right now. For us comic book people, Iron Man was like a B character at best.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
like a founding member of the Avengers, but the Avengers was always Hank Pym's project. Uh, and then it was always Captain America, and that like out of all of his historical stories, like a few that stand out, like everybody knows that don't actually like they've referenced a lot in the movies, but they didn't make for that big boom of a character. And so Marvel was gambling on a character that if he were to fail, they wouldn't have cared. Okay, and thanks to the unrivaled casting of Robert Downey Jr. Okay, that who changed the course of of superhero movies forever. That kind of gamble you cannot do with Superman. Okay, you just simply cannot do it. All right,
Because he's too big to fail.
he is too big. All right, and when someone messed him up, not going to mention their name, they messed him up badly. Okay.
That's gonna burn. That's gonna burn.
So, um, oh, just one thing. The mentioning of Doctor Strange in the Tobey Maguire movies
Yeah.
is not meant to build a universe. The Spider-Man movies weren't meant to
Be a
uh,
universe, yes.
to be a universe. The mentioning of Doctor Strange was a nod to the creator of Spider-Man, who also created Doctor Strange,
Namely Steve Ditko.
Steve Ditko.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, when Maher, just let you know, when what I mean about the Easter eggs, I mean it was a nice gesture for them to do a Easter eggs. Okay, I'm not speaking about they want to build something, but I would like to have some Easter eggs, even it doesn't build for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
because
I mean,
it can.
Easter
Okay,
eggs.
yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll tell you this. Maybe you can use this Easter eggs for your own benefit in the future. It's like a long distance investment. Sorry, I'm talking about project management and
No,
money things. But that's
perfect point.
how
Perfect.
You're sharing good points. PMP
thanks, guys.
certified professionals are proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, but
Okay.
just to
Yeah, Maher,
point,
continue.
to end that on that point, Easter eggs were never meant to build anything. When they were first introduced into movies, they were meant as nods to um,
The
to
creators.
the fans, to
Yeah,
the fans, like
right.
things that only the fans would pick up on, which is why they were called Easter eggs.
Understood.
Yeah.
But okay, Khalid,
Yeah.
now you've heard Maher share a lot of details. You heard Abu Suluh. He is taking a perspective from. He's looking at DC Universe. He's looking at James Gunn as a project,
Yeah.
and what could be the better way forward. And Maher has given us a very clear perspective about the comparisons that were being made. In
Yeah.
your hindsight, what are your expectations after watching this trailer?
Well, from what I've seen from the trailer, I feel the story is grounded. Like there's no like like I just hope that they won't rush with this universe just like what they did with the DCEU when they rushed the crossover like Batman. They bring them all earlier. I just hope that the DCU will take its time, to breathe and to make their stories more grounded for the couple of years, just like what they did with the Marvel with the MCU.
Just like they did with the MCU. Okay,
Yeah,
this is your hope, right? But like primarily, are you expecting this movie to be a success?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay, Maher, what do you see? What is your crude expectation? And it has to be as crude as possible.
Honestly, you can never go wrong with Superman. Like it's going to be a success. I believe so. As long as what we are seeing in the trailers, so far, is delivered on. Okay, because as long as the story is like Khalid rightfully said, grounded within Superman, even if the other characters are being mentioned, okay, it is going to work, and you can never go wrong when you include crypto, man.
Okay, and I'm gonna go to Abu Suluh before I start with my final segment of the talk. Abu Suluh, your now you have shared your analysis, your point of view by looking at it as a project management professional. I want to know what is your expectation, plain and simple expectation after watching the trailer.
Okay, there is one thing actually I noticed about James Gunn. James Gunn, I love the movie how he did Guardian of the Galaxy. He put, you know, you remember these old movies like Home Alone, this stuff like a family
Yeah,
movies. You feel like you felt it in the Guardian of the
right.
Galaxy. James Gunn, I think he wants to break all the rules for what the movies knows about the superheroes movies to make the people enjoy it. So what I think I think if he went through a right path, he may gonna surprise us with the masterpiece. That's what I hope so. Especially the trailer, how he started the trailer, it was something unaccepted, yeah, like something I never expected. You know what I mean? And one thing I need to point
Yeah,
is here: people wants to see a movie in the level of Zack Snyder or higher. Let's be
right.
honest. The movie of the Batman was amazing. Special, it's related to the comic a lot. That was amazing. But now I want to see with James Gunn, he's gonna give it to us regarding is he gonna surprise us to make a project that's gonna start for a very long journey or not?
Okay. Now I'm going to ask a question. Uh, this is going to be the final question for all of you. So I'm going to ask this question and go to each and every one of you one by one. I know it might be too soon to ask this, but will the new DC universe, DC Studios, gonna give Marvel Studios a run for its money? I'll start with Khalid first.
Well, I'll be very honest. I mean, this whole this DCU and DCU, this idea was all from David Zaslav when after he canceled the DCEU. But with James Gunn, I think I'm kind of hopeful that the DC, the shared universe is gonna work this time because with the DCEU, it wasn't really consistent. So I think I'm hopeful that they're gonna do well. I hope so. I mean, I'm keeping my expectations low at the same time, but I feel it's kind of a competition with the MCU with Marvel Studios because that's why DC has a DC Studios now, and also they're making a new shared universe as well. So I think it's kind of a competition. I see.
But will this competition make it tough for Marvel that they, I mean, like, is it going to be tough for them from now on?
Well, it's
For Marvel.
it's very hard to say because look, I'm a Marvel and DC fan. I'm a fan of both of them, and I enjoy both of them. I enjoy both of them. So I don't think it's gonna be tough on Marvel because Marvel is still successful. They're still doing well. They still got the audience. They still got the money. So I don't think it's gonna go wrong with Marvel at all.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go to Abu Suluh. Abu Suluh, plain and simple question. After watching the Superman trailer, Creature Commandos is going successful. We have Matt Reeves' Batman going successful, although it's not part of the game universe. Do you think that DC will now give a tough time to Marvel?
Okay, I'll make it in a one sentence. Competition is a healthy thing. You wanna know why?
Tell me.
Think it, man. It's like you have your own product, and there's the other person has a product. Okay, like I'm a customer. Okay, what the customer wants? Let's be honest. Not everybody watching not everyone watching the DC and the Marvel movies are comic fans. They just want to enjoy the story.
Right.
They want to hear the storyteller of the story. So this is going to be good. If the DC succeeds, Marvel has no must improve their stories because special after Infinity War, Endgame was good, but after it exactly, it went really drop down, and that's affected the quality and the CGI and lots of things, you know. And let's be honest, they treat us, their audience, like as well, whatever. That's what we have. It's like some. cell phone companies. I don't want to mention them now. Okay, that's the reason. So when they have the competition, they start to improve it a lot, a lot. And I'm thinking about the competition is good for us as a fans, as a client, as customers. I'm sorry, guys, I'm speaking like this, but seriously, you don't want both of them to succeed. Let them have a very healthy competition.
Very good point. Okay, now I would like Crimson Mahir. Same question to you.
Yeah, I think Abusala said the right thing. It is competition is always good, and Marvel not having competition for the last couple of years, or anyone not having competition, you get complicit. You stop trying hard, and I is the DC for us fans. This is the best time to be a fan. we're getting as some people online would say, we're eating good. Okay, we're gonna get some good stuff from everyone. Marvel is going to start being more competitive, trying to push for better stories, push for better movies. I'm already seeing glimpses of that with the Thunderbolts trailer,
Right.
and I'm hoping that that's good indicator of where we're headed with the Marvel universe. And at the same time, of course, everyone's talking about the aesthetics of the Fantastic Four movies,
Right.
and that's something I'm looking forward to seeing myself. And of course, for me, I mean, like I said, or like Absalom said, competition is good. Okay, competition makes people work harder. Okay,
Well
so
said.
that, yeah.
Okay, but Mahir, there is one part I want the community to hear from you, just
Mhm.
like they heard from Abu Suluk, just like they heard from Super Khalid. Judging by what you have seen till now, we're talking Creature Commandos, we're talking the Superman trailer, and slightly not relevant or not connected with James Gunn DCU, but still a DC project, The Batman. Do you think that Marvel is going to be facing a tough time from DC?
I mean, of course, that's what competition does. Okay, it keeps you on your heels. Okay, and it makes you want to do better. Yes, the DC universe will give them a run for their money. I mean, there's no okay. So to speak from a business side of things,
Right.
okay, there is no better character to start a big franchise with than Superman. Okay, and Superman is going to bring people to the theater. Okay, it's going to bring people. It's going to put butts in chairs. Okay, in seats, and that's what matters here. Okay, showing that the superhero genre is not stagnant. It is not fatigued. It is still going strong.
With that, I would like
Yeah,
to thank each and every.
my friend,
Yeah, sure, sir. Abu Suluk. Yeah, please, please.
Okay, sorry to interrupt
It's
you,
okay,
my
man.
friend. Okay, I'm actually okay. Just let you know, this I'll speak it now from a special a guy who loves Batman and just League
Mhm.
movies and the special limited series. When I saw the version of the Zack Snyder Justice
Mhm.
League, there was something hit me so badly. What if, and I don't want to like say what it seriously, what if this movie of Zack Snyder happened in 2017? That could change the Avenger for the Infinity War and the End Game a lot because that movie was a masterpiece, and I feel like it could let the Avenger be way better than what we had. Well, I love the Avenger End Game and Infinity War, but what happened? What if that happened? I would like you to guys to just think
You're
about it.
you're referring to the Snyder cut of the Justice League.
Yes. What if it
Okay.
happens in the time at that time?
Yeah, it's a what if scenario. But anyhow, first of all, I want to thank Crimson Mahir from Riyadh, Abu Suluh from Al Ula, and Super Khalid from Khobar. You guys are, I mean, you just made our day. You shared your love for Superman, the icon. You shared your valuable insights about the trailer. And frankly speaking, we can't thank you enough. And as I have said earlier, that Superheroes of Arabia is a monthly live broadcast feature. So I'm going to be bringing on board more and more faces who represent the fandom in Saudi Arabia. Thank you to each and every one of you for watching, for sharing your comments in the chat. And once again, thank you, Crimson Maher, Abu Suluh, and Super Khalid for sharing your insights, for sharing your point of view with the community.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us, man.
شكرا يعطيك العافية.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone.
Allah afiq, Allah afikum, Allah afikum. Thank you.
Figures Master over here on this special occasion is dressed in his Superman costume. Here. So my dear brother has asked me to unbox his Supermobile. It's an honor because it's a cult classic. So let's see. Be really careful. It has some tapes on the sides. This is the 1980s reissued Supermobile, and it requires assembly because it has parts. Carefully. Yes. Supermobile. These have been made by McFarlane Boys. So it's a really good way to assemble. They made it pretty simple. And the last item is the tail of the Supermobile. I wish they had called it Super Jet rather than Supermobile, but you know, some things just work out, no matter how illogical they sound. So carefully I have to and there you have it. Supermobile. Specials to my brother Figures Master for letting me unbox. And now let's when we put the action figure inside. Carefully, because this action figure that my brother Figures Master has, this one is not the reissued action figure. This is straight from the 80s, the ones that were made by Kenner Parker Toys. And you have Superman seated inside. So just look at the beauty. I like the quality. It's not made with cheap material, rather it's something really good. I see there might be some thing over here. If Talal has Lex Luthor or any of the bad guys, I might as well try to put them inside this jail cell that Supermobile has. Talal,
Yes.
any idea how to open this jail cell?
No? You're the one who's unboxing it.
Well, it just says over here jail cell, and it shows it opens. I think it might open from. Talal is an expert because he's the
If it's stuck inside.
between me and him. He's the true toy collector.
This one's stuck.
But it's open. Yeah, it's open. Here you go. These are the jail cells. So an action figure can be inside. We'll just have a look. Do we have any action figures from the same series which we can put inside and see if it can, if
Yep.
it holds?
We have villains. I don't have. However, I
Anyone from the same series.
Series.
Let's
Place Aquaman.
let's give it a try. So there we have Aquaman from the same Kenner Parker series. Let's see if he can easily be slided into. The cell.
Sideways, yes.
Sideways, but I don't think it's going to happen. Either we need.
May I try? While
Yes,
you're holding
please.
back
I'll-
Robin.
I'll hold Robin. Figures Master over here on this special occasion is dressed in his Superman costume.
I think this is the maximum.
I think
Yeah. Nope. It's the maximum.
okay, let's try Robin.
I don't think so. Okay, let's see the other side.
Yeah.
Yep, Robin fit.
So Robin has fit inside.
Let's see
Robin,
the other side as well. Aquaman is a bit tough.
maybe because of the key that's behind him.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, Aquaman is having a key behind him. That's why he is unable to fit. But overall, they have made the cell really good. I mean, Robin is comfortably inside the jail cell. I'll try to show it to you. You can see it over here.
There you have it.
The proud owner of Supermobile,
the one that's reissued by McFarlane Toys, uh, exact specifications as the original one, with the original Kenner Parker's 1985 Superman action figure, seated comfortably inside. The quality of the plane is just beautiful. They didn't compromise on the quality. Everything is awesome. Thank you, Talal.
Thank you, Sam Jeddah. It's always a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine, bro.
Thank you.
Things that I am today joined by an all-star panel of individuals from our region, people who have worked day and night. They have worked really hard in reviewing the movies for us, across the genres, including the superhero genre. So please allow me to introduce to you, first and foremost, Movie Convo's Muhammad Farid. Muhammad has been a very active movie reviewer for many years now, and he has been involved not just with the superheroes project, but also from genres ranging from horror, sci-fi, drama, you just name it. And mashallah, he is not only the owner of a very successful YouTube channel, but also he is now getting involved in big projects that are related to the world of cinema. So please wish him all the best in his future endeavors, and please join me in welcoming him to the panel. Next up, we have the face of Itzy Reviews. Itzy Reviews from Dubai, Ahil Fagi. He was kind enough to join us. And for those of you who are on Instagram, you know who Itzy Reviews is. And last but certainly not the least, for my community, which is more into the superheroes and the sci-fi and all this kind of stuff, we have our very own, my genre sister, I would call her, Raz Reviews, also from Dubai. So please join me in welcoming all of them to Superheroes of Arabia Live.
Thank you, Mars, for having me here. I think for the second time, it's a pleasure. Thank you, my friend, for your continuous support and as well your passion for superhero movies that keeps on growing year after year. And hopefully tonight we'll have a very interesting discussion. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is ours. Thank you for taking out the time, to all of you. I mean,
Yeah,
okay,
technically, we are having the biggest superhero movies this year. James Gunn is starting with the DC universe, and we're also having the Fantastic Four, which is a huge step in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hopefully, we get Downey's Doom this year.
Downey's Doom. Well, that's a good wish. I hope we get some kind of a cameo or something coming in.
I mean,
Raz,
definitely because Thanos was introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, there needs to be like a brick for the next step.
good point. Very valid. And obviously, we might be headed towards a huge surprise. Who knows? Raz,
Hey, hey guys. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I think this is actually a very cool combination of people. And to be honest with you, I feel like this should be the first of many such content because there's a lot of us around here
Sean.
that love and are passionate about movies. And it would be really cool to actually do something like this regularly because I think there's definitely so many discussions that can be had, especially in 2025. A lot has changed in the last 5 years. And a lot will change in the next year. So we are on the precipice of what's gonna come, and superhero movies and Marvel and DC. It's gonna be crazy. And of course, let's not forget that this is the year for me, which is the year of Born Again. This is very important. Finally,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's what's coming, and I can't wait to discuss this with you guys because there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I tend to really go and look deep what happens behind the scenes and how things go down, and it'd be really cool to discuss and see how that affects the content we're gonna get.
Importantly, with what we have seen, and as Raz has pointed out, that a lot has changed since Corona happened, and a lot of productions that came in. How do you think the superhero genre is influencing the overall cinema landscape in terms of storytelling, audience expectations, and even other genres? I'll start with you, Farid.
So basically, look, superhero movies not only changed cinema, it's actually from a commercial standpoint. Now, this is what sells at the time being. However, I feel like, and I'm going to be very honest. I feel like after 2019, there hasn't been a lot of superhero movies as it were, like from 2000, let's say 8 till 2019. There's been a lot of changes, and there's a lot of, let's say, people are kind of like fed up from superhero movies because a lot of things came out that were not that great, and commercially they were doing kind of okay. People say that Marvel peaked. I had to mention Marvel and DC. Sorry, guys. So people say that Marvel peaked, with Endgame and Infinity War, and kind of revived itself with No Way Home, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and then it just kind of like it wasn't very stable. And DC, with the complexities of the Snyderverse, they still didn't manage to have a very successful project aside from Batman and Joker. Having said that, I feel like this new wave of movies coming in, even though I was a skeptic at the beginning, I feel like it will revive the love and passion for superhero movies, because now I feel like they learned from their past mistakes and people want to see the oldest, like the stuff that they loved 6 7 years ago. And I cannot believe, it's been 6 years since MCU changed. Now, superheroes movies are a safe bet, but at the same time, it affects cinemas from a little bit of different perspective, where you don't see a lot of big movies being produced in Hollywood because they're worried that they will not succeed. And just to give you a little bit of an example,
Right.
so I come from the era where when I growing up, I went to Jurassic Park 2. I remember Men in Black 1 when it was released. I remember when The Matrix and The Mummy had a huge box office fight in the summer, where you would see movies like Troy, Kingdom of Heaven, Gladiator, like this kind of big blockbuster movies that they would make in order to make money. These
Right.
things kind of a little bit, superhero movies affected the making of those kind of films. Don't get me wrong, they still do make some of them, but they don't take as big risks as before. And that was a general complaint from a lot of filmmakers, and as well, I complain about it on my channel because I need certain diversity. I don't want to be just I don't want to think of summer and only think of big blockbuster superhero movies. So these things kind of a bit of changing, but that's the impact of superhero movies. I feel like if the production companies they don't think thoroughly with their content and their stories, the fate of superhero movies might get the same fate as the cowboy movies in the history of cinema. Which part of me doesn't want this to happen. I want this continuity. But now you see a lot of content being pushed, but the quality of it is not that great. But I reiterate, I feel like the upcoming projects, series and movies, gave me hope again. That we'll hopefully have a great let's say a year for those kind of movies. Sorry, I talked a lot. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Because the more we learn, the better. Ahil, what do you have to say on the same question which I asked Muhammad?
I mean, I kind of do agree on what Mohammed said, but I feel like the whole genre of superheroes is never going to die down because, I mean, yeah, we're going to have superhero fatigue and, we're going to get bored of it eventually. There's always going to be like a huge big event which is going to bring everyone to the theaters and, it's going to make everyone fall in love with Marvel and DC again. And, it's going to it's like a cycle, it just spins off. And yeah, that's basically it. I don't feel like it's going to die. So, yeah.
Okay. Raz, what would you say on this question? That I mean, uh, is it the superhero genre? Is it influencing the overall cinema landscape?
I think, look, there's the influence comes in many ways, and yeah, definitely, every time there's a financially successful genre of film, it starts to take over the content creation and things like that. There's one thing that I usually disagree with, and I don't agree with the term. I don't like the term superhero fatigue because I don't believe it's real. I think people have a mediocre movie fatigue, whether it's superhero or not. And we see this happen in every genre and throughout cinema history, where you'd have, like, when, just like Farid was saying, we had the big like the big sword and sandal blockbusters, right? Troy and Gladiator really like became this big spectacle, and then after Gladiator there was Troy, and then after that, but then they started continuously pumping out those sword and sandal movies, and then the fatigue wasn't with that type of film. The fatigue was with the fact that the movies that were coming out after that were just knockoffs, and they were quantity over quality, and then people just got tired of not the type of film, but a type of film like that mediocre or even sometimes not so good. And the same thing happened with superhero films. So Marvel and the MCU and things like that exploded so much critically and financially, and then you got people who came in and started pumping out and trying to rush and trying to, even on the DC side of things, where they were trying to play catch up without building the universe properly, and then you had all these issues with their releases as well, and that towards the end caused, especially in 2020 and 2021, you got this fatigue. And a big element of it is something we shouldn't also neglect, which is the streaming sites, right? The streaming content, which became so much and so overwhelming. And this is due to when, especially in Disney, when the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, left and Bob Chapek took over, and he kind of just went all in with Disney Plus and started, pump out as much content as humanly possible. And you started getting your She-Hulks and your Secret Invasions. Became oversaturating the market with something that wasn't really good. And it really started to fall apart from there. But throughout these, whenever there is a good superhero movie, that what's good is subjective, but most people agree on certain things, like Spider-Man, No Way Home, like of course the first Joker, like now Deadpool and Wolverine, literally right now.
Yes.
Okay. So when these films come out, somehow the fatigue goes away, because the fatigue is not with superheroes, the fatigue is with bad films, but you can always bring it back. And just like all the films, like Western genre, died out because everybody was making Westerns, and then there was oversaturation with mediocre content. But you still, every couple of years, you'll find a really high quality Western film that ends up at the Oscars, and you end up with Western style shows like Breaking Bad, one of the most popular TV shows now of all time, is a Western, generally. And the same thing, like at some point we had like black and white silent film, The Artist, win an Oscar. So it doesn't matter. I don't think genre is important. A good film is a good film, no matter what genre it is. So if you make it a good film, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what the genre is.
And
Sorry, please continue.
No, it's like just what Raz said. Like I feel like what you're trying to say is like, just like we want to miss those movies. Like just to explain more. Like remember like the era like when after Iron Man, and of course around that time there was like Spider-Man. I think 3 was released, and then there's a Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. But like I remember like every year back in the day, like 2011, 2010, like you would find like 2 superhero movies a year. And I remember like I used to get so excited, just like I'm gonna watch this film, even if it's good or bad. And I agree with you about if it's good or bad, definitely 100%, because Deadpool Wolverine was a really fantastic film, and it actually made me like I even wrote in my thumbnail like this movie, the savior of Marvel, because really I kind of missed
Marvel Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I loved it. So I feel like it's great to have content. I really like, it's not a bad thing like where we're gonna watch our favorite characters, let's say on Disney Plus or HBO Max or whatever. But at the same time, I just feel like it's so much out there that I feel like I kind of want to miss it, but I don't want to miss it. Am I making sense to you guys? Like it's just feels like
I feel
it's
that. I mean,
everywhere.
I had to watch Secret Invasion just for the sake of it, so that I don't miss out anything that's happening currently in Marvel.
That was
good?
just no, it was terrible. Even if that was the only thing we got in 2023 when it came out, even if that was the only thing we got, it wouldn't have been good. We wouldn't have liked it anyway. And here's the thing, look, it's a double-edged sword, right? And I'm gonna talk a little shop, right? Talk a little bit behind the scenes. And that's the problem with oversaturation of content. Forget the effect it has on the audience. It's a double-edged sword, because when you start doing too much content as a company, remember, you have artists that are working on these things. You have producers, you have directors, you have screenwriters, you have and Disney specifically, not just Marvel, Disney went nuts. All right, when Bob Chapek came in and just started oversaturating, he's like, we're gonna pump out, like his mandate was pump out as much content as possible and just flood Disney Plus with content. And the overflooding of content, funny guys, wasn't in the cinema. It was mostly streaming. Cinema was also happening at the same time, which is why it all felt like too much. But at the same time, you have a bunch of resources like your writers and your directors and your screenwriters and your creative producers coming up with ideas. These people are getting stretched thin. Like when the MCU was at its highest, you had Kevin Feige as a head creative producer, and he is greenlighting everything and reading all the scripts and watching the dailies of the films and watching the movies and then proving and being able to micromanage that stuff. But when there was like 16 projects happening at the same time, there's no way one human being like Kevin Feige will be able to handle it. So then they started to outsource. They started to give these films outside to other people and other filmmakers. And also they started overworking their post-production people and they started overworking the writers. So you're stretching people thin. So logically, the quality of your output is going to drop because you're stretching thin your resources. And that's the thing, by the way, when that ended, because I don't know if you guys know about the whole like Succession like drama that happened in Disney when Bob Chapek was voted out by the board and Bob Iger came back from their time and took over. Yeah, there was a whole thing. If you read up on it, you can find like a bunch of stuff about it on like in Variety, on Deadline. Like you can read the stuff. And yeah, so Bob Chapek came in. He took power away from the creatives. He put his banker friends in charge, and they launched Disney Plus. And then he oversaturated the market, and it wasn't good. And that's when the decline. And they started losing money. They started losing subscription. Disney didn't make profit. Disney Plus didn't make profit in its first year. It was a disaster. So the board of trustees voted him out, and they brought back. And there was like this whole again like Succession. I was watching it as it was happening, so it was very exciting. But it was boring and very business and behind the scenes. But as a producer, I love this stuff. But then Bob Iger came back, and one of the things is that he put Kevin Feige back in charge, where Bob Chapek removed creative power from him. The first thing that Kevin Feige did, the first thing at the time, this was last year. At the time, Daredevil was being filmed. The Netflix Daredevil was being filmed at the time, and the first thing that Kevin Feige said was, "Show me the dailies." He wasn't able to watch dailies in this phase. Dailies, by the way, is like the raw footage, just the things they're filming, right? So back in the day, Iron Man, Thor, like back in like high MCU quality, Kevin Feige was watching everything and greenlighting everything. And then now he wasn't. He didn't watch most of it, right? And most of the shows, by the way, were not made properly anymore, because I don't know if you know about how TV shows are made, but the person who's deciding things on a TV show is called a showrunner, who's the head writer, and they're head of a writer's room. And so all Disney projects we were seeing had no showrunner, by the way. They had just no showrunners. She-Hulk didn't have a showrunner. Secret Invasion didn't have a showrunner. Echo didn't have no showrunners. It's just
I think Agatha did have one though.
yes, Agatha is the first film. It's the first project where Kevin Feige insisted that we bring back showrunners and we make it like a series like normal people. Anyway, so then he was like, okay, I want to look. Born Again was being filmed, so he's like, bring me the dailies. So he sat there and watched the dailies, and it was. And he was like, he stopped production, and they were already like 60% done. He stopped production. He's like, I'm going to postpone this to 2 years from now or a year and a half from now. We're going to sit down. He brought in a showrunner, brought in writers, brought in the old cast, which none of them were there. Froggy wasn't there. Karen wasn't there. Like he brought the old cast, and it wasn't connected to the original Netflix Daredevil. It was like a new, same characters, but a different Daredevil, which was weird. It wasn't even connected. So he brought everybody, he paused everything, and he went back to from scratch. So that's what happens when you have a creative who's able to be in charge. But when he's making, or he's just signing papers to release 16 projects in the year, he can't do that. He can't micromanage and quality control. So now we have quality control. So I'm very excited, and it's a big deal.
Okay. I did not know about this. That's very fascinating. All right, cool.
Okay, I'm going to start up with a follow-up question, because a lot has been shared by all of you. Recently, we have come across some action movies that have been promoted. One of them happens to be a feature of Jason Statham, if I'm not mistaken. I have this feeling inside of me, but I don't want to lay it out. I want to basically hear what you guys have to say. That whenever we are coming across traditional action or sci-fi films these days, are they borrowing heavily from the superhero formulas? I'll start with Razan. So I came across this trailer for A Working Man, and as I'm watching the trailer, basically giving me the feeling that a lot of it is either inspired or it's taking like that. It seems like I'm watching a superhero movie without the movie claiming to be a superhero movie.
But aren't like all action heroes are superheroes in their own world and their own universe?
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, yeah. If you look
yeah.
at Die Hard, that
Yeah,
guy was a superhero,
exactly,
man.
exactly.
Nah.
Yeah, and
What about
Statham
Fast
movies
and
are-
Furious? Fast and Furious and X-Men have the same powers. They defy physics. And they have X in it, like what about Triple X?
No,
That's like
it's
X-Men times 3.
it's basically like, okay, let me just try to say that like a character that's not born out of a publication that has a legacy for 8 decades, if not 5 decades, for example. And at the same time, when we are talking about action heroes, I mean, I don't know, this is how I feel, but I can never imagine calling Rambo, the Terminator, Commando, Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee. I can never imagine calling these guys superheroes. I will always call them action heroes, or in case of Bruce Lee, the martial arts superstar action hero, or whatever is the case. So, having seen A Working Man, I felt that it's claiming to be an action movie, but it seems like
I mean, it's hard to judge because we haven't seen it. It hasn't come out yet, but
Yeah.
it's direct. I'm looking it up, and it's directed by David Ayer, who did Suicide Squad. So that is kind of his style. I don't
And he
think
did The Beekeeper, I think, as well.
signals
the
it.
one
Yeah, he
before.
did The
Yeah, and the
Beekeeper as
Beekeeper
well.
is him as well. So it's kind of more just one director's style than I think it's a movement. I don't think there's a movement there at all. I think
Yeah.
superhero movies are superhero movies. I think there was a movement, a nice movement that happened in the 2017s and 16s and 15s and stuff like that during the superhero phase, where there were these cynical superhero content like Kick-Ass, like
Yeah.
The Boys, like like Invincible. Like these are content that are like things that are there are superhero movies, but they're kind of making fun of it. They're self-aware, self-referential. So there is that movement, but I don't think there's a movement in action to make to be like superheroes. But however, action films have always had this sort of legacy hero character that we see repeated, and
Yes.
we saw that with John McClane, and then recently John Wick, and Reddick. Like all of these characters, they have
Yes.
this like superhero thing, but they're not superheroes. They're just action heroes, but they are
Yeah.
they feel like mythology sometimes.
Completely. And like they honestly, like in terms of like from a character standpoint, they do have the same character arc, give or take. So but the one, like the difference, I feel like it's like one of them wears a cape, the other no, the other just has like a
Just wears plot armor.
yes. But I mean, I don't feel like Muazzin, like action movies are trying to be or take from superhero or mimic superheroes. Honestly, I think it's just a different take on action movies. And of course, like if we're gonna speak about the genre of action movies, there's like the style of Die Hard movies. Like I love Die Hard movies, by the way. I know, like
Oh,
after
yes.
Die, I mean, like they're fun and everything, and they're like out of this world, but I enjoy them.
Yes.
And as well, like when The Matrix was released in '99, that kind of changed the perception of action. That had a huge influence on certain action movies in terms of slow motion and the bullets moving and all of
Yeah.
that. So I feel like nobody tries to copy anything. It's just I feel like it's a wonderful influence. If we find a movie like a starring Jason Statham who can actually jump so high, higher than the Hulk, and this kind of makes sense in the story, I'll buy that stuff and I'll just watch it. Like I'll just enjoy it. I don't feel like they're trying to copy. And like what Ras said, David Ayer, like he's directed Suicide Squad, and he did as well Bright on Netflix, which has kind of a
Mhm.
fantasy,
Yeah.
which has kind
Yeah.
of a fantasy kind of an element, and as well like a superhero feel to it. So I think they're just borrowing from each other, and it works for me, honestly. Like it's totally fine.
I
And
have
I kind of like what James Gunn is planning. He's diversifying in all these projects. So we have Clayface coming, which is a horror movie. We have The Lantern Show coming, which is mystery thriller. So he's redefining the superhero genre in such a way that it is so diversified, and then everyone, it feels like everyone has something for themselves to see, and at the same time it's all under the superhero umbrella.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it's very smart to because DC has so much potential, and unfortunately, I know there's a lot of fans of the Snyderverse,
And you're not,
and I'm
and you're
gonna
not one of them.
tread lightly. I'm gonna tread lightly, but whatever you thought of it, it did kind of put this. It did make it did make the universe feel smaller, as if it's all one type of mood and atmosphere, which is this dark, gritty, moody kind of Zack Snyder vibe, and it kind of took away from, I think, when you go to the comics and you go to the the animated films and the Justice League and the all this stuff. There is versatility in DC just as much as there is in Marvel, but it hasn't been utilized on film, I think. And I think James Gunn is one of the best people to come in and sort of bring that and bring some, and I don't think it all needs to be connected. I hope they start doing some Elseworld stuff, like you have your your Battinson universe, the Batman,
Yes.
the Matt Reeves stuff, which I am a fan of, and and even the Joker. Like, these are separate things, and it doesn't mean. And now there's Creature Commandos, completely different vibe, and that's fine, I think. And then Superman is going to have its own vibe, and I think these little different, it doesn't all have to be just one color and one note. I think the versatility is the thing that's going to keep us away from the superhero fatigue if all the films feel the same. And I think the MCU kind of fell into that, because the MCU became a genre, it became a style, and then it became kind of one note. So once we start diverting away from that as well, I think the genre can continue, and we won't be tired of it.
So, like you're saying, you don't want to see like a Justice League movie in a shared universe, or you just want it to take time for this to happen, because a lot of people demanding to see like the new universe. I feel like, you know what, maybe that's my own perception. Like, even now with the new James Gunn trailer of Superman and everything, and the new universe that's starting, I've started to think subconsciously, honestly, like, okay, so when are we gonna have a Justice League movie? Like, it's just because the Marvel formula was so successful back then, like when we saw those individual movies, and then when we watched first Avengers, second Avenger, and the third and the fourth. Like, in my head, like, I want them to team up. So you're saying like we shouldn't focus on that now and just focus on making good movies for every character, and then maybe do like a multiverse thing?
I think my answer is two are right. Number one is that, yes, a shared universe is nice and it's cool, and it would be really cool if we get introduced. We're gonna meet a lot of heroes, by the way, in the Superman movies, not just Superman, Supergirl, like all of it. Great. And if we have a few characters in that world established, and then you put them together in a Justice League film or series, and it's that world, great. And you should establish a world, but I think it's not the only world you should do, because then you're limiting yourself to anything you're going to bring. You're going to have to color with this brush. So whilst we have that, we can also have Elseworlds, and then James Gunn can give creative control to other directors and other filmmakers to, interpret different aspects of the DC comic book universe into different things, just like Matt Reeves did with the Batman, where he did something completely separate, and it was, to me, very successful, and it felt very different. So it's both. Like, we can have our cake and eat it, is what I'm saying.
Ahil, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was saying that yeah, I kind of agree on what they said, because it's very different. It's very important for James Gunn to have like different projects, and it's something for everyone to get a hold on. So yeah.
Okay, I have a very important question to ask you guys, because both Muhammad and Raz touched on this topic about the fatigue, if you will. Now we are in 2025. Captain America Brave New World is going to be released in February. Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series by the end of this month. Daredevil live action series is coming in March, followed by the Fantastic Four and Superman, and then the Thunderbolts. To my collective memory, I never came across such a stacked year when it came to superhero productions. Why are we seeing such a stacked year when it comes to 2025 and also 2026 for superheroes movies? Ahil, can you lead this discussion from here?
Yeah, I feel like we're living in the golden age of superhero cinema, because we're getting Secret Wars, we're getting Avengers Doomsday. I feel like everyone has realized this to the point. Even the good news of the Sonyverse ending, because that was the whole crap with Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter we got. So I feel like studios have now decided that it's time to make good stuff. And even with the failure of movies, that's very important because Madam Web failed at the box office, Kraven the Hunter failed at the box office. So everyone's just like, okay, now what can we do next? So they're just thinking about it now. Okay, let's go forward with some good stuff. So yeah.
Okay, Muhammad, what would you like to share on this from a
Honestly,
studio standpoint?
yeah, I mean, like maybe I just because with what Raz said as well earlier, maybe it's just a coincidence that all those projects got ready at a certain time and they're like slated to be released this year. Because I know that they have like a schedule, I know, and they go like supposedly they think very hard when to release certain things and timings and links to commercial aspects because the main driving force for superhero movies is of course to make money. But I don't know why this year is so stacked in comparison to the previous years. I think it's just maybe timing. I might be wrong, but for me personally, and I'm not gonna sound biased, like I'm very. This is like the only film for me this year is Superman because it's my favorite character, and I hope that we can talk about the trailer later on because I saved my opinion about it I stayed quiet on social media until now. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay, Raz.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this guy, to Daredevil. Here we are. Yeah, I can't wait. Look, I actually don't think that next year is as stacked as we think. I think in terms of numbers, we're talking about what's coming out next year. We're talking about Superman, and we're talking about Daredevil, obviously. What else do we have upcoming? Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four.
Thunderbolts.
And Thunderbolts. Yeah, that's like 4. I would like I think there's been years that have been a lot more stacked than this. Like I remember the Infinity War year was crazy. There were like 8, if not 9 superhero movies that year. You had Joker, you had Infinity, you had Captain Marvel before Infinity War or after, I don't remember.
Before
yeah.
No, after,
Yeah.
yeah.
Before
Spider-Man
Endgame.
Yeah, and that year also had Spider-Man Far From Home, and DC had Shazam as well in the same year. You had the Brightburn as well. Like there's also other studios other than Marvel and DC were making superhero content, and you still had Fox back then. Yeah, and there was Fox back then, and they did the last
The
Fox
Dark
X-Men,
Phoenix,
Dark
yeah.
Phoenix, exact. So that was a much more stacked year than now, actually. So I think it's just that the movies that are coming now are huge. I don't think this is quantity over quality. I mean, quality over quantity, the opposite. Because I think that you have Superman is an event, an event. Like when when Man of Steel came out, like half of the podcasters and the film content people that are out now, most of them started doing it because of Man of Steel and the discussions around Man of Steel on YouTube, right? So it's Superman. It's one of our. It's a human. It's our cultural iconography. It's a big deal. Elvis, Superman. So it's a big deal. Fantastic Four, because they've been off the radar for such a long time, and even when they did come into and even when they did, no one was happy. So now there's this promise of a real, Fantastic Four, because even the Fantastic Four comics were not doing very well. So this is like this whole thing is like, are they going to come back from the dead as the Marvels, Marvel's big family? And of course, you have huge fans of the Daredevil and the Punisher, and he's coming back. Like, do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's more the weight of these films is what's the big deal about this year, rather than just the amount of, it's stacked, but I think it's stacked emotionally more than technically. If that makes sense.
Ahil, do you feel the same way? It's stacked emotionally instead of like just one production after another.
I feel like 2019 was a pretty stacked year. I do agree with what Raz said, but we could have had more projects this year. I mean, we only have like 3 or 4. I do not agree that it is as stacked as the couple of future years. You know what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, there's more coming. Yeah.
Okay. About Daredevil, like I'm like kind of because I loved the Netflix one, and especially season 3 for me, and I really enjoyed it, and it really touched my heart. Especially season 3. I'm kind of like, I'm not worried, to be honest. I would say just I am cautiously optimistic. You know what I mean? Like I don't want cautiously optimistic. Is that a thing?
Yes.
I'm just,
Yes, it is.
I'm just
Yes.
trying to say, like, you know what? I'm excited, but I'm gonna, like, you know, I don't want it to be too happy and too, like, you know, a lot of jokes and stuff, because really,
Oh,
like
yes.
the
Oh,
Netflix
yes.
It's
one.
no.
What?
I'm so excited for you, Penny, to see what's
She
coming.
Hulk,
This
She
is
Hulk
what
kind
you
of
were.
butchered it.
No, forget She-Hulk, guys. She-Hulk doesn't matter. She-Hulk is to the dumpster fire of history. It doesn't matter. Look, guys, I'm telling you, I will be. I hope, like, if I'm wrong, this video will be very funny of me going, yeah, but no. I wasn't cautiously optimistic. I was pessimistic, actually, when they first announced it. When they first released information about I was like, oh my god, now they're gonna ruin Daredevil. Especially when I saw Daredevil on She-Hulk, it didn't help. However, I'm telling you, this is one of those moments where the chef is back in the kitchen. Like, he's back. He paused the production for 2 years, not to bring it back at a mediocre level. Like, he didn't. Do you know how much money they lost? They reshot 60% of it. They threw out footage, and I don't know if like in the film industry, this is a disaster. This is
Yeah.
like this is millions of dollars down the drain that they're like he scrapped footage, and they went out and rewrote it first. That's why they stopped it. They didn't go reshoot immediately. It's not reshoots. They rewrote. They brought the writers. They did a writers' room. They rewrote it, and that, by the way, to be in continuity with after season 3, which is also one of my favorite seasons. So there's a lot that went into making this, and clearly a lot of care, which is what's making me look forward to it. If none of this had happened and it was just, okay, we're bringing back Daredevil, I'd feel the same way as you. But knowing that the head chef was back in the kitchen, and he's, micromanaging it, and he's, took a big risk and a financial hit just to get it right, it would be insane if it goes wrong.
Okay.
It would
Okay,
make sense.
Raz, I need to hold each and every one of you, because we're now down to our last 15 minutes of the live broadcast, and I have
Also, it's R-rated. Just say.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's NC-17.
I
It's
did not
NC-17,
know
so there's
that.
gonna be, it's bloody. It's NC-17.
All right.
Yeah, which is the R-rated
Wow.
version of TV. I'm done, son of Jeddah. Don't make me talk about movies. I talk too much.
No, I really wanted to didn't want to interject right now, but the thing is, for this discussion, I have saved the best question for last,
Okay.
Cool.
and it's going to be quite emotional for many who consider themselves diehard fans of an iconic superhero. So, are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
Bring it on.
We're ready.
Now,
We're again ready.
good one. Okay. So James Gunn's Superman is expected to set the tone for DC's new cinematic universe.
Mhm.
How crucial is this movie for DC's future? Number one.
Mhm.
And can it compete? Can it compete with Marvel's momentum?
All right. All right. So, look, I'll be very honest. When I first watched the trailer, I wasn't that excited.
Okay.
I still had, like, the Snyderverse and everything in me, but I had to let it go, to be honest, at a certain time. And then because look, you need to know one thing about me, guys, and please don't judge me. When I watch the trailer, I get affected a lot by the music, the soundtrack. So when I drive to work,
Yeah.
I most of the time I listen to trailers. Like, one of my favorite trailers of all time is listening to the trailer of Infinity War
Oh.
while driving. I
Oh.
swear, like, I just what they say and with the music. So this one got me very well. This trailer, I was like, I was too harsh on this film. I understand what James Gunn's trying to do. I understand the emotions behind it. I understand from what I've seen just from the trailer. Even though I have reservations about the suit, about how he looks, but I'm like, hey, I had the same reservations when Snyder released Man of Steel.
Okay.
And then I liked it. So I'm like, why am I being a hypocrite? And like, I wanted people to accept Snyder's version, but why can't I accept, like, because I feel like he's going with the more traditional Superman, James Gunn.
Yes.
So why can't
Yes.
I just accept that? You know what I mean? Like, I just checked myself. And to
Okay.
be honest, for moments from the trailer, it kind of felt a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of characters in it, but I'm hoping that they'll be presented in a very smart way without the movie feeling to be like, like congested or like it has a lot of characters. I got emotional listening to it. When I saw Crypto, I smiled because because the Superman series, I watched the whole thing. I have the entire series of the cartoon, and I have all the animated movies, and I have and we have the comic books from my dad, but we lost some of them when back in the day Superman was called Nabil Fawzi. In Arabic. So I know this stuff, and I got emotional, and I'm like, hey, Muhammad, Snyder did something that you liked and you basically fought for. Khalas, this is all in the past. Look at the future. Be hopeful. Be hopeful, which I am, and I am excited, and I say it out publicly. I am excited. I just hope that the movie would just, and as well, it has the essence of the Christopher Reeve movies, which honestly, Superman 1 and 2, especially the director's cut, it's one of my favorite movies. Like as a child, like it's one of my favorite superhero movies. I love them. So I am optimistic. I am excited. I have my reservations, yes, but I'll say them out loud once I review the movie. So I am excited and kind of emotional. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the panelists got emotional. I'm really delighted he shared it with us. Ahil.
I feel this is DC's one shot and one opportunity to get it right. Because if this goes wrong, we might never have a Superman movie in like 10 or 20 years. And in James Gunn we trust, though, like what he has done with the Suicide Squad, and it's really good to see that he is like a true comic book fan with how he's open in social media and stuff. He really promotes the comic book genre and stuff. So, and I really love how he's diversifying the characters in the Superman movie. It's not just Superman, and we have Lex Luthor, and the casting is brilliant as well. We have Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. We have everyone that just defines. We have Jimmy Olsen as well, and then we have Crypto, obviously. And there's other side characters like Metamorpho, and I really love what he's doing, and I really can't wait to see what he's cooking in the kitchen.
Ahil, before I go to Raz, don't you think it's like a bit harsh on your side that you say that if this movie turns out to be a mess, we might not see like another Superman movie for like 10-20 years?
I mean, look what happened. Look what happened with Man of Steel. To be honest, we didn't even get like a sequel. Fans were we never got it.
Yeah, there's a sequel. It's called BVS, dude. There's a sequel.
I wouldn't boast about that one. Yeah.
I will always defend that movie, like the Ultimate Edition. But I understand why people don't like it. But like I get what you're saying, honestly. But I just have this kind of a really positive feeling that it will click. It will like basically hit all the checkpoints.
In James Gunn we trust, though. Like James Gunn, I mean, I do believe in him. I feel he can get it right. Fingers crossed, though, obviously.
Yeah. But like for him as a filmmaker, I don't like his work mostly. Like for me personally. But I feel like he's gonna get the character right. To be
you don't like Guardians of the Galaxy?
I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I like them.
Yeah,
I don't like two. I don't like two.
Have you seen Slither?
I've seen Slither. I liked it. It's just his style of how he treats his character. But this is like too cinema for me. Like for this video, it's just there are certain things that how he treats his character, I just don't like.
You mean the self-deprivation humor?
It's just and even like the same formula he used with Suicide Squad. For me personally, I get it, the enjoyable part. I get it. It's just it kind of feels like I've seen this before wearing a different cloak, and I'm like, no. But I feel like with Superman, this one, because there's so much rich information, rich history, and everything. I don't think he'll do the same treatment because for Guardians 1 for me is like one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
Fantastic. I also love 3. I thought 3 was brilliant.
Yeah, 3, like I love the rocket part, like his story, but it's still like for me it's just the comedy aspect where like it wasn't balanced for me. But anyway, that's just nitpicking from my side. But I feel like for Superman will be fine. Why did they kill off Superman and Batman versus Captain Sinbad? I made a video about this. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Actually, I agree with the fact that what I was saying is that a lot is riding on this. I agree. I wouldn't want to be James Gunn right now, because the pressure on this, there really is. You're talking about, again, however you felt about however you felt about the DCEU, however you felt about the James Gunn stuff, all of this. That world died. Your Black Adam and the Shazam and all of these all of that content, just none of it ever managed to be successful, especially in numbers. Like if you look at if you do just numbers, forget critical acclaim things, just numbers, it never really reached its potential. As content coming from the comics, you never felt like it got towards its potential, and that's why there's a big, like, it just collapsed at the end. Like what was it, the Blue Beetle, like that?
Yeah.
It flopped. Like it went out with a whimper, even. So now you have this new, it's like a new beginning. All right, and it needs to start on the right, because even Man of Steel, look, I liked Man of Steel a lot. I didn't think it was perfect, but I liked Man of Steel. I just like how you feel about James Gunn. I've always had that feeling about Zack Snyder as a filmmaker, where I think he's a visual master, but I have an issue with his storytelling since Watchmen, since 300. Like, it's fun, but like, I'm not a fan of him as a storyteller, as a scriptwriter. I have issues, but that's, again, a personal opinion. But even Man of Steel, was, when it came out, like I said earlier, it spurred all these YouTubers discussing whether Man of Steel is good or not. There wasn't consensus.
I remember. I remember.
Yeah, we look at it fondly now because of what happened. Hindsight, it was great. That's what I mean. It never really hit its stride from the beginning. It stumbled onto the scene as a universe. If this, and people are not, and at the time there was a lot more faith. It was just like we had a lot more hope in it, and we were and keep in mind, we are not regular audience. We're big fans. We're movie buffs. We're comic book fans. We're not the average, like my cousin and my aunt. You know what I mean? We're not the average movie goer where all the money is. And for them, they have dismissed DC. So this has to come in and bring back and reignite the passion of the fans that have given up, and also somehow please your regular moviegoer, the non-geek, right? Where all the money is, we're still a minority, right? We're like a loud minority. We're still a minority in terms of money and box office, right? So you still have to catch those people as well. You have to catch the people who like the Snyder films. You have to catch the people who hated the Snyder films because they loved the Christopher Reeve film and thought that was a betrayal of, the love of, the happy Superman. Well, nobody agreed, and you have to make this, and you have to please all of them, because any one of those factions doesn't like it, they're gonna be loud.
Yeah, but like, right, from what you're saying, is like, it feels like Superman will be the most divisive commercial movie of 2025, and that's not necessarily like a bad thing, like, because I feel like if there's a lot of controversy behind the film, commercially will make people go watch it. Like, I remember what happened to Barbie. Like, who would thought that Barbie would make $1 billion, and actually compete with Oppenheimer. But I totally agree with you, because it has a lot of elements, like, where, like,
a lot is riding on it. A lot is riding on it.
The feeling I get, honestly, because the first video I did that was still archived for my channel was about BVS, the Ultimate Edition, defending it. So the reason why I opened my channel was BVS, by the way, Batman vs Superman. So I've had the same feeling with Superman, the same feeling I felt with when BVS was released. Do you get my point? Like, before it got released, when people were talking, it's going to be a bad movie. Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's going to be divisive, I think, but yeah.
Okay, guys, I just have a very interesting comment from Captain Sinbad once again. Because we are about to end our live broadcast, I want to give a segment to our beloved audience. Why was James Gunn allowed to fail upwards and put in charge of DC after Suicide Squad failed? So quickly, 1 minute each to each and every panelist. Muhammad, you start. Is this
Um, I mean, I would say, yeah, Suicide Squad is one of the biggest flops of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. There was an article about it. Um, I maybe they like him. I honestly I wouldn't know because numbers stated that he kind of failed. But to be fair, there are many directors in cinema history that failed, and they still were giving a chance to make sequels and movies. Maybe for personal reasons, but I honestly wouldn't know why was he allowed unless I ask the executives or the head of DC Comics. I don't know.
Ahil, quickly.
I
1
haven't.
minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like the Suicide Squad it failed for a number of reasons, but none of them were like because the movie was trash. Because that movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'd love to watch it again and again. But one was because they released it at streaming on the same time, and second, it was also during the pandemic.
But
Okay.
still, regardless, like there were other movies released the same way, and they still made money.
No, I'm gonna come in with the
Okay.
numbers.
Now,
I'm gonna
Raz, come on in.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in with the numbers. All right. So look, first of all, whether a movie is good or not is a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Just like you love Batman versus Superman, I walked out of it. I almost ended my marriage. So just so it's subjective. All right. So that's not a metric. Okay. Now, what was happening at the time? So Suicide Squad, in terms of critical reception, yeah, somebody in the comment section might have hated it, but you have to right now we're divided. I liked it a lot. Itsy Reviews liked it a lot. So there's nothing like that. If you look at the numbers and look at the average, it had a 90% Rotten Tomatoes score for critics, but also for the audience score, it was 82%. So that means 82% of the audience liked it, right? It doesn't mean it's 82% as in a B+ movie. It just means the majority of people didn't hate it, they liked it. But there was a big disaster that happened in 2020 and 2021, and it sunk a lot of films, including Suicide Squad, which is something that was called date and day release, which Marvel did it, but the first people to do it was Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers decided, I think 2021, if I'm not wrong, or 2020, I don't remember the date. I forgot even the name of the CEO, but he said that he's going to release all the films that year, that entire slate, was going to be date and day release in the cinema and on HBO Max because they were trying to launch HBO Max. And they got sued, by the way, because one of those films was Dune, right? Dune.
Oh.
And that's why Dune didn't do very well in the box office, by the way. And it's Dune, okay? But that's because they did the same thing. And Lionsgate actually sued Warner Brothers, the sub-production company, the distributor. They sued them. What's her name? Famously Marvel.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson
The Black
sued
Widow.
the Disney, and they settled. So there was a whole scuffle happening. So when Suicide Squad came out, first of all, critically, it was received well. In terms of number, now personally for you, if you didn't receive it well, that doesn't define what the movie is out there. There's a whole world of people watching it. So it was received well. That's number one. It didn't do well, not because it wasn't necessarily a well-received film. It didn't do well because of this issue with the streaming, and it went straight to streaming. And a lot of films that were really well at the time, including Pixar films, by the way. One of them, I forgot what it was called, the one with the black musician that was nominated for an Oscar. Soul flopped. Soul flopped hard because it was released on
and that was a good movie.
That it was nominated for an Oscar. so that's number one. Number three, why they went, because remember, around the same time, he also put out a series on NBC Max that was very highly viewed and very popular and did very well, which is, what's it called? The spin-off from Suicide Squad. John Cena. Peacemaker. Yeah. And again, whether you like it or not, or whether people like it or not, if we look at the actual reception, very high reception critically and from audience scores and from reviews and from watching. So he came in and he did films that, to Warner Brothers, it looked like he's somebody who can handle big cast and can handle this sort of fantastical world that they want to build. So I don't agree that James Gunn failed at all. I think that's just a personal opinion.
And to be fair, like his movies made over $1 billion, like with Marvel. To be fair and objective, commercially, all the movies that he took care of for Marvel, like they made over $1 billion. So the guy has commercial viability, and maybe that's what works. But the biggest test will be Superman, and we shall see. Hopefully, it will do well.
I'll just add one point from a comic book reader's perspective. Collecting comics since the early 80s, to this day, I don't have one single comic of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So James Gunn is the person. I don't like Muhammad. I didn't like his approach. This funny cowboy type, space cowboy type of a movie that he made out of Guardians of the Galaxy. Though Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was really good, but one thing I have to admit, besides the numbers, he has made Guardians of the Galaxy A-list superhero team.
Yeah, they were nothing.
It actually made them like mainstream, to be honest.
Relevant. They weren't even relevant.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
made
yeah.
them relevant. Yeah. It's a big. The man, like, I disagree very much with the statement of he's failing upwards. I don't think so. His career, if I look at it professionally speaking, this is a trajectory. He's been, ever since he started in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, from before that, Slither and stuff. If you look at his trajectory, all right, and you take out your own personal, because a lot of these statements are subjective and personal, but look at it from a big picture, and this man has not. He's been doing this, so it would make
I think
sense
something similar for Guardians of the Galaxy would be The Authority, because that's a lesser known project in DC and he's putting spotlight onto it, so I'm really excited for that as well.
And yeah, in fact, I'll take a lead from Ahil's point that who knew Creature Commandos, like,
for example,
a year ago? Okay, and who knew about The Authority? I mean, we're talking about the masses here, not the comic book readers who have been following these characters like since the 80s or the 70s or the 90s and stuff. With this point, I would like to bring our live broadcast to conclusion. I am extremely grateful to each and every one of you. Muhammad Fareed from Movie Convo, Ahil Faghi from Itzy Reviews, Razan Takash from Raz Reviews. I mean, I just am at a loss for words on how to thank you guys in a way that you guys deserve the most. You guys have really, really enriched our audience who are watching live broadcasts of Superheroes of Arabia Live with your knowledge on movie making, with your knowledge on the superhero genre, and your sound ability to be able to compare that genre with others that are there in Hollywood. So I can't thank you all enough. And if there is one and closing statement that each and every one of you would like to share with our audiences, that would be amazing. I'll start with you, Raz.
Oh, I didn't think I would go first. My final statement is that winning fixes everything. A good movie will fix everything. People will be like, we don't want to watch Marvel movies anymore. And then Deadpool and Wolverine comes out and it's good. And it's like, now people are walking around wearing Marvel t-shirts and, nobody's hating. So winning fixes everything. A good film comes in and it's going to change everything. And I think we are slated for some good content next year. And I think it's going to change everything. And I think it's going to put a lot of this back on track. And I'm a little less cautiously, more optimistic.
Okay. Ahil?
I mean, I feel like superheroes are, I feel like as an investment in the movie genre, I feel they're a safer bet, and they're always going to be successful as we move on all these years. But I'm really excited to see what James Gunn and his DC universe is cooking.
Muhammad.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you so much for having me. Great meeting you guys. Well, it's a very rich and productive conversation. I loved it. And actually, the talks that we had here made me feel optimistic, cautiously optimistic, okay, about this year, especially about Superman, as well as other projects, because I do love Fantastic Four. And I'm excited for Daredevil. I did not watch anything, but like season 3 to me is like a masterpiece. So, thank you. Hopefully we'll have a good year. Hopefully, like you guys said as well, at the end of the day, a good movie will defend itself. It doesn't need defending.
Yeah.
So let's just hope for more content to come, and as well, where they basically, most importantly, they treat the characters and the stories right. They're not doing anything. The production companies, they're not doing projects just for the sake of releasing it. Quantity over quality, and let's hopefully we relive the glories of 2019, because I still think it was a spectacular year for the superhero movies. And yeah, thank you, Mars, for having me. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
We need to do this again and longer.
Inshallah. Just wanted to let you guys know that my esteemed guest, Son of Sparta, is going to be joining us pretty soon. Just waiting for him to join us. This is going to be uh, a live broadcast that's going to be talking about a lot of the things that have been covered recently by the media, social media, and all. And basically, what we're going to be trying to do is just to see and let you guys be informed about the local mood when it comes to the upcoming expected blockbuster movies, namely Superman and the Fantastic Four First Steps. Along with it, there are a lot of other developments coming in, both locally as well as internationally. We've seen a lot of things that have been announced by various gaming developers and publishing houses. Uh, we are also going to be talking about what's going on right now as we speak when it comes to the superhero fandom here in Saudi Arabia. And because there are going to be a lot of events and activities that are going to be taking place, as you might have, if you guys are already subscribed to the channel, you might have come across how we celebrated Superman Day in Saudi Arabia, both in Jeddah and in Riyadh. So just please bear with me, and I'll be starting the live broadcast once Son of Sparta has joined us. So thank you for your patience, and we'll be starting pretty soon. Okay, Son of Sparta is having some issues with his PC, but at least he's going to be online pretty soon. That's what we know. So, for those of you who are new to this, Superheroes of Arabia Live is uh, a monthly episode, monthly series where we are basically talking about the superhero fandom from a local perspective. So, in that respect, we have to basically communicate to all of you guys what exactly is going on and what exactly is being planned for the community at hand. Uh, we have a great deal of people who are quite excited for our favorite superheroes and all. But the unfortunate part is that the companies or the private sector is not so, how should I say, welcoming when it comes to superhero fandom. And some companies are making good strides, but obviously more needs to be done. And right now, I am seeing Son of Sparta. Welcome, Son of
Hey,
Sparta.
bro. How's it going?
It's going great. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you. Just want to let you know I'm still waiting on my computer to restart. I'm having some technical issues. Hope you don't mind.
No,
Should
not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
yeah.
Better late than never.
Yep.
Basically, today it's a special day because we are live not only on YouTube but also on X and live in our Facebook group, Superheroes of Arabia.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The
So
pressure's on.
not much of a pressure. At least, man, nice to see you. I
Good
hope
to
you're
see you.
doing really well.
It was okay. My barber has traveled, so as you can see, I haven't been able to fix myself up. I'm in my caveman mode right now,
Right.
cosplaying as Captain Caveman.
Well, you're the refined version of Captain Caveman, I must say. Uh, I'm having a more of a caveman look than you because your hair is shorter, trimmed, I would say, than mine.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But yeah, we
yeah.
got lots to talk about. Got some stuff to share. Some Superman related, some related to stuff from the '80s, some vintage stuff. So yeah, hopefully I'll be more equipped once everything's up, and everything's starting to start up. So hopefully I'll be able to join you from my PC and have my notes in front of me, and we'll be good to go.
Yalla Habibi. Desperately waiting for you because a lot has happened. And as of today, we are only a month away from the release of Superman.
Yes. So
And
exciting!
oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And shout out to our brother Talal, Figures Master. He brought this from
Oh my goodness!
the facsimile edition of Action Comics and some more as well. So God bless you, Habibi Figures Master Talal Tayyib.
Thank you, Bilal.
He went through all the trouble, and really it means a lot, man.
Oh, absolutely. Now that's a reprint, right? It's not one of the originals that was printed back in the day.
Yeah, but it's not just a reprint, because usually what happens is that a lot of the elements both inside and outside are changed slightly. This
Okay.
is the exact replica, as we say here in Saudi Arabia, badal faqid,
Oh,
the original Action Comics #1 issue. So you have all the ads from 1938. You have everything there. I mean, there's
oh
nothing. Yeah.
my goodness, that's amazing. We'll have to go through that at some point.
No, while you are restarting
Yeah.
your PC, let me just
Yeah.
show it to you. This is, look,
Oh
all
my
of the ads
goodness.
are from 1930s, and not just from the inside, but also, so not from the outside, but also from the inside.
Right.
And there are some characters that used to be part of the newspaper strips, like
Yeah.
Pep Morgan.
Yeah.
So, because this is an anthology book,
Yeah.
Action Comics, so you will find these strips. The quality of the paper is pretty reminiscent of the 1930s as well. Even the fragrance.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh wow.
yeah.
It smells like the '30s, right?
Yeah, an old comic. The only
Right.
difference is that, like, for example, you have this logo of Superman Day, you have
Yeah.
the price point, you
Yeah.
have, but everything else is just as original as it can get. And
How much do you think it cost back in the 1930s?
it would be in cents, because comics
Mm.
used to be like 30 cents or 20
Yeah.
cents.
Yeah.
Just look at it. For anyone who is a fan of baseball, I think this is Lou Gehrig,
Yeah.
the actual ad from the 30s.
Oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
wonder if like all these companies whose ads they posted, I wonder if they had to go back and ask for their permission, or if most of them are even still around.
A lot of the companies, a lot of the characters, their copyrights, they
Yeah.
ended, because, like, for example, this Superman that we are looking at over here.
Yeah.
Okay, the copyright for this Superman is going to end, I think, in the next 2 years or 5 years, maybe. So
Yeah.
that this will become a public domain, available on public. So I
Oh,
can
wow.
use it in every step of the way. And the timing could not have been more beautiful, by the way, because
Yeah.
now we have like these AI tools that we can basically have this Superman, and we
Yeah.
can create our episodes and stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
anyways, so yeah, to answer your question, a lot of them would have been their copyrights have expired. They are now part of the public domain.
Right.
But I'm not sure about if they needed to take some permission
Right.
for these, because a lot of the things they come under the work for hire thing. So, and there's also the statute of limitation also.
Right.
So, so many legal things that are there.
Yeah.
You're ready now, son of
I
Sparta?
my WhatsApp is loading. It has all my notes and stuff from my phone because I usually use my phone as a webcam.
Right.
So for some reason, it takes forever to load. Whoever's in charge of WhatsApp, please get on this. Yeah, there has to be a faster way to load WhatsApp on your computer. But if you don't mind me going to my notes, like I don't know if this will stay open if I close it and open it, but hopefully I can test it right now and check it out. Let's see.
No, just go ahead. Just go ahead. Do it.
Okay.
At least we'll be able to get the conversation rolling.
Okay.
And there might be a slight, like you won't be appearing, but at least let's start with the first point that we have to go for.
By the way, I just tested it, so everything stays open when I minimize this window on my phone, so that's perfect. But yeah, I got all my notes and everything, so we're good to go.
Awesome. Let's start the conversation then.
Yeah. So we said we were going to talk about, first and foremost, the Superman movie that's coming up very soon, like you said, in less than a month. Some very serious themes in this movie, right? So you want to go ahead first? You want to start off?
No. I want you to share your point of view, and then I'll be adding to it.
Okay. So we get some very serious themes in the very latest trailer, where he talks about, he's very happy about himself. And I feel like this Superman, I don't know if we can call him year one. We'll find out how long he's been doing this, saving people, saving lives. But what's apparent is that he's somewhat new at this. And he keeps telling Lois, and this is a world where I guess for whatever amount of time, Lois knows that Clark is Superman. And so apparently he's telling her, I stopped the war, and he's starting to get aggravated and upset. But she's saying, you're not looking at the bigger picture. Did you stop a war? I imagine the conversation going, her saying, were you on the side of the United States? Were you on the side of another country? Because, and we'll get into this later, this is, I feel like a theme that another popular DC villain is always complaining about with Justice League, saying that the Justice League, their very existence stops human evolution, because war is a part of evolution. And if you can't have war, you can have countries overtaking each other, waging war, helping each other, taking over, whatnot. So it's a part of evolution. It's just the way it is. Every country in the world has changed over the course of 100 years. And by stopping this war, has Superman taken sides? Has he sided with the US? Has he sided with another country? Is he just siding with the humanity? And in doing so, I feel like there are a lot of problems. She's saying, you didn't consult the military, you didn't consult the president. So we'll figure those out. And I guess Clark or Kal-El or Superman, he's going to figure those questions out. We got a glimpse of Lex Luthor's motivations. Why does he hate Superman so much? In every iteration, every movie, in every universe, it's been different. Did you know why in the original comics, why did Lex Luthor hate Superman?
Okay, you need to understand that there are two types of Lex Luthor in the entire history of Superman.
The very first one.
The first Lex Luthor is a mad scientist. Okay, and the first Lex Luthor is a mad scientist, and basically he just hates Superman, and he wants to, basically defeat him through his inventions and all that. But
because he's a little jealous, right?
Yes. Now, the second bit of Lex Luthor is that he is a successful businessman who has his hands wet in defense, science, genetics, all these things through LexCorp.
And some under the table stuff.
and some under the table stuff.
Mhm.
But the thing is that he harbors a certain hatred for Superman, which is consistent, whether in the first version of Lex Luthor or the second version of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
The second version of Lex Luthor is basically the one who was redefined by John Byrne in the 1980s, 1986 to be precise.
Yeah.
But there is just one thing that is constant, and that is that I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it. For those of you who are watching my podcast episodes or who haven't watched my podcast episodes, I had the opportunity to interview the historian, a pop culture writer called Roy Schwartz, who has done an extensive research on Superman and all. So Superman was basically inspired by Prophet Moses, Musa alayhi salam, peace be upon him.
Oh. Mm.
And Lex Luthor actually was the Pharaoh or the Pharaoh.
Right.
Okay, so you have the ego, you have the arrogance,
Yeah.
and Superman is like a representation of the virtues or the characteristics of the prophets, which would be selflessness, being humble, being caring, and so forth. So this Lex Luthor that I'm seeing is the perfect embodiment of the Golden Age, Silver Age, and including the Bronze Age, because it's not the mad scientist and it's not the businessman. It's this human being who, out of his ego, out of his pride, out of his superiority complex, and we can even say jealousy, is basically not willing to accept a person, a being, an entity who is not from planet Earth, and who, if he is doing the right thing, the good thing, the moral thing, he is out there to take him down as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that's the case.
So everything you said, yes, I feel like that's very commonly the Lex Luthor we've known in TV shows, in cartoons. He reads the newspaper, it says, Metropolis honors its favorite son, and he gets very jealous and upset, right?
Yes.
But now, if I'm remembering this right, the original, very first version of Lex Luthor in the comics was upset with Superman because I think through some form of either kryptonite radiation poisoning or something, Superman was the reason that Lex Luthor lost his hair and went bald.
The Superman is the reason. His experimentation with kryptonite, I'm not very, how should I say, certain. Because again, I mean, like, we need to I need to go back and read the comics once again, just to know that, okay, what's actually going on, what actually happened, because there is a lot of history, and that needs to be like looked into.
So another thing, and we're going to be, if you don't mind, I'm going to be sharing a little theory of mine that might be potential spoiler. Now,
please share.
All right, so we see this character in the trailers. It's a character that's in all black, and he has this very unique logo on his chest that kind of looks like a U. Now, it's been confirmed in the toy lines, as toy lines practically almost always do, spoiling things. They spoil that this is actually Ultraman, and that is a version of Superman from another world. There are entire storylines in the comics about this. There's an animated movies about this, about something called the Crime Syndicate, where the Justice League, there's an evil version of them. They run their universe. And Ultraman is one of the people in charge of this Crime Syndicate. So apparently, I think we're gonna get some multiverse in this movie, where Ultraman is in this universe. Either he's left his universe or he's been brought to this universe, but he's in the movie, and it's gonna be a surprise who is playing. We've heard nothing about it. There are theories that it could be Henry Cavill, and the last we saw the Snyderverse, Henry Cavill did go evil. So whether it is or not, I'm not saying it is, but that's a fun little theory I've heard. Another thing that's been confirmed is the name of the current version of the Justice League that consists of Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, and Mr. Terrific. And James Gunn has said that the name of this current league is the Justice Gang.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm assuming that'll change somewhere throughout the course of this movie or the next movie or somewhere time. They're hopefully going to do that because that's a terrible name.
Now,
But
yeah, please continue.
But we also, and not directly attached to this movie, but we also got some connectivity with a series that's coming a month later, Peacemaker.
Yes.
Peacemaker is going to feature some of these characters. We're going to get Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Maximilian. What's the name?
Maxwell Lord.
Maxwell Lord, played by James Gunn's brother, who
Sean
is
Gunn.
also Sean Gunn, who's prominent in the Marvel universe, now in the DC universe. We're gonna get to see him. So yeah, what else? Oh, James Gunn mentioned there are gonna be 4 pillars of the DCU, and those 4. So what I imagine this means is, and you can tell me if you interpret this differently, is that these 4 will be the leaders. They'll have the most movies, TV shows around these 4 characters, and those are Superman, Supergirl, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Supergirl is the one that surprised me because those are the other 3 are usually the trinity of the DC universe, right?
Right.
But apparently Supergirl is joining that. She's going to be hers is the next movie.
True.
So we're gonna get characters around these characters, close to them, spin-offs of them. They've already announced, I believe, a Robin and Red Hood series that's coming, or animated movie. I can remember something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much all my notes regarding this movie.
Okay,
But
let's start with your questions one by one. First
Okay.
question.
All right.
Can you repeat your first question?
Oh, what was my first question? So I asked, what do you think of the 4 pillars of Superman and Supergirl, Batman, and Wonder Woman?
Well, basically, the Trinity is not something that is surprising because these are the flagship characters of DC since company began.
Yeah.
We all know that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are golden age characters.
Yeah.
The surprising bit is to add a silver age character from the Superman family along with Crypto, and that is Supergirl. Now, for me, it's a smart move. It has a lot of marketing potential. Why? Because a lot of the times what happens is that the superhero fandom, the female superhero fandom, often gets sidelined, especially if we look at the last 10 years, 15 years, where we have seen Marvel dishing out one content after another content after another content that lays emphasis on female superheroes like Scarlet Witch, like Captain Marvel, like She-Hulk, like Storm. I mean, even like when we are talking about the X-Men 97 series, you have 3 very powerful female superheroes, namely Storm, Jean Grey, and Rogue. Okay, but in DC has been completely absent. I don't want to go back to the Zack Snyder episode of DC EU because I mean, like it just didn't give us what we were expecting. So this is a very smart move. Why? Because in essence, James Gunn is somebody, as you and I were talking off camera, that he is our clone. When we say our clone, in the sense that he represents your and mine generation. We are Gen X, we are early millennials, we grew up reading comics in the 80s, we know the Silver Age comics, we know the Bronze Age comics. And at the same time, he understands that what the female superhero fandom is looking for when it comes to DC. And him being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for many years, this guy really understands the marketing potential.
Yeah.
He is one of those few directors, I think, in Hollywood who are, we can call them the jack of all trades,
Yeah. Yeah.
because having the ability to uh, incorporate the entire universe of a character in a movie,
Yeah.
and then at the same time understanding the comics aspect of those characters, and last but certainly not the least, and understanding what the fandom wants. And by the
Yeah.
fandom, he is not only restricted to the male audiences, he's
Yeah.
also trying to understand and deliver something for the female superhero fans.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is one part of the question. There was another question that you had asked me about the movie, yeah, Ultraman. Yes. Now this
Yeah.
is a very interesting bit that you pointed it out. It's not a spoiler because already they have shared a great deal
Yeah.
before the action figures actually came out.
Yeah.
So what has happened here
Oh, but
is,
here's the thing. To
yeah,
your point, just really quickly. Now this character had the logo on his chest, but before the toys came out, we didn't have any confirmation. The box actually says Ultraman on it.
okay, I'll take that point, and that's a valid point. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
That yes, to answer your question, because you raised this question, that is, are they going towards the multiverse? Yes, they are going towards the multiverse. Why? Because the crime syndicate or the justice lords,
Yeah.
they represent parallel earths.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's something.
There we go. Oh, you know what? I should probably.
Yeah, you need to rotate your phone or camera.
Well, the phone is rotated, but the camera.
Do you have
Did I?
screen lock or something?
What's that?
Do you have some kind of a screen lock that doesn't allow your camera to rotate?
Oh, maybe. Hang on. Give me 1 second. Can I? I'm going to turn off the camera for just a bit while I figure this out.
Sure.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. So anyhow, Ultraman is a very important signaling that there's going to be multiverse, which is basically DC Comics' hallmark. It's one of the reasons why DC Comics has always had consistency issues until Crisis on Infinite Earths was actually produced by Marv Wolfman and the late George Perez to sort out the continuity issues. So we have this evil version of Superman, and it will also going to answer the questions that if this Ultraman came from another Earth, which Earth does he represent? The Justice Lords or the Crime Syndicate? We will be learning about all of these guys. But one thing is, I'm glad you raised this point, is the fact that James Gunn is bringing out the total comic book experience. Now, is this movie going to be full of goofy comedy like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2? That remains to be seen. Is it going to be something like Suicide Squad, which he had done? Let's see.
I feel like if anyone can pull this off and give us a very balanced movie where it's serious at times, where it's humorous at times, where it's joyful at times, it's James Gunn, right? Because he's done that time and time again with his Guardians of the Galaxy. The one thing I feel like one thing that people noted with this Snyderverse is that it was very dark in tone, and there was very little joy or humor in any of the movies. So people complain that they wish the Snyderverse continued. I really can't say that myself. I'm glad that they're trying something new. We've had 10 years of the Snyderverse, so why not try something new? And hopefully we'll get something that is good, as good, or if not, maybe even better.
No, I think it will be better because that was Zack Snyder's own interpretation,
Yeah.
and frankly, the market didn't respond to it the way it was expected. And let's be honest, I mean, like for comparison purposes, uh, Christopher Nolan
Yeah.
was the first director to take a superhero character and lead the movie franchise earning $1 billion at the box office,
Oh wow.
which was The Dark Knight, followed by The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, James Gunn had Marvel's C-list and D-list characters.
Yeah.
So he was able to earn 600 to 700 million dollars at the box office with Guardians of the Galaxy. But Zack Snyder, he the earnings for Man of Steel, the earnings for Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, it didn't even reach close to $1 billion. I mean, you
Yeah.
had three flagship characters. You had Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman all appearing in Batman versus Superman,
Yeah.
and still, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So that's what it is basically.
Yeah. Also, James Gunn joked a little while ago on his Instagram is that the whole reason he's doing this movie is to put Nathan Fillion in a ball cut for his haircut, and
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. Nathan Fillion, we can't have enough of this man. We need him in everything, and I'm glad we're getting him in this movie. I'm glad we're getting him back in Peacemaker, and hopefully we'll get to see him again in the Green Lantern series.
We will. And he no, obviously I can't rule out the fact that Nathan Fillion is
Mhm.
not going to be part of the Lantern series. He needs to be
Mhm.
part of that.
Yep.
Guy Gardner is an important character.
Yep.
You have these guys, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, who have been announced already.
Yep.
Will be a crime not to have Nathan be
Yep.
involved with these guys,
Yep.
because that's what Green Lantern Corps is all about. And I don't know if they have any plans to introduce Kyle Rayner, who is
Oh,
another.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So and then you have Kilowog, and you have
Mhm.
those other alien Green Lantern Corps members.
Mhm.
So the DC's library of characters is humongous. And
Huge.
yeah,
Mm.
and they haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg, if you will.
Mhm. Mhm. That's true.
So there's a lot that needs to be done right now.
Oh yeah. Man, can you believe it's been over 10 years, a decade, since we've had a Green Lantern movie? I mean, that was the first and last time they tried to make a Green Lantern movie, and they had the right cast. I feel like Ryan Reynolds, he did his best, and the story didn't come together. I was hoping they try and give it another go with the sequel. That didn't pan out, but I feel like they have a solid plan right now for the Lanterns, for Oa, for the Guardians, for Carol Ferris, I believe her name is.
Carol Ferris, yes. Star
Mhm.
Sapphire, yes.
Yep.
Yes, I mean the love story of Hal Jordan and
Yep.
Star Sapphire. I
Yep.
mean that's one of the best things ever. I mean, like, in fact, now that you remind me,
Mhm.
Green Lantern is possibly the only character in both DC and Marvel who fell
Yep.
in love with a woman, and she's
Mm.
a very, how should I say, educated and ambitious
Yep.
lady. But then
Yep.
again, she becomes a supervillain.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I can't think of any other superhero who went through that.
I mean, I don't know if we can compare Catwoman. She's an anti-hero, I guess you can say.
Yeah,
But
Catwoman is an anti-hero.
But oh my gosh, when Carol turned into Star Sapphire, she was a pure villain for a while, and it wasn't because she wanted to. It was because she was very conflicted because of her feelings for Hal, and hopefully, and that's what I guess her ring does to her. It brings her negative feelings out. But hopefully, we'll get to see that because Hal has been confirmed to be in the series. So we'll get to see Hal. We'll get to see John Stewart. Those are the ones that are confirmed so far, and hopefully we'll get to see the entire Green Lantern Corps as much as possible of these lanterns and Admin Sur and Sinestro, maybe possibly.
Sinestro. Oof.
Mm, mm.
And
That
you take me back to the 80s, bro, because man, the entire 80s was just about the trial of Sinestro.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him, make the Yellow Lantern Corps, if that happens, and possibly we'll get to see other lanterns, the Blue Lanterns, the Red Lanterns. That's a big one. And there's a very popular comic about the Black Lanterns.
Yes.
Yeah, Darkest Night, I believe it's called.
Darkest Night series,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll. Go ahead.
Also, Parallax.
Yes. Oh, that'd be a good one. Wasn't Parallax the main bad guy of the last movie?
The Ryan Reynolds one, I didn't watch that.
Oh, don't watch it.
Yeah, I know. When I came across the reviews, I said, "Man, I'm not gonna be doing that. I'm not."
I even bought the director's edition, director's cut, and I thought it would be maybe at least watchable. It was not.
Not at all.
I tried. I love Ryan Reynolds. I even like his wife. I guess that's where they met, on the set of Green Lantern, Blake Lively. But oh my gosh, this movie, it's a hard watch. So hopefully they'll do the entire characters of DC Universe, the Lanterns, justice in these upcoming projects. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I guess before we move on, unless you have something else, I want to just share something I got related to our boy in red and blue. I got this figure from a company called Mafex, Superman. This is representing how he looked as drawn by Jim Lee in the comic book Hush. That's where it says Hush on the side.
Yes, this is the Hush Superman. Yes.
So I haven't taken him out of the box yet, hoping to very soon. But I've also bought the Batman figure because he comes with accessories for Batman. He comes with a kryptonite ring for Batman, a hand with a ring installed. But I'm told the articulation's very good. I'm told that the cape is wired. So those are some very essential things you need in your figures, I guess.
First thing is Alf Mabruk, and I want to basically take this opportunity to highlight to everyone. Both Marvel and DC are actually marketing Summer of Superman and a Fantastic Summer for the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
So, Son of Sparta, you got this wonderful action figure by Mafex.
Yes.
I am going to be doing an unboxing video pretty soon because as part of my celebration of Summer of Superman,
let's do it.
I'm going to be basically showcasing an action figure which basically kick-started my journey of collecting action figures.
Oh, nice.
And it's going to be related with Superman, and it's a vintage 80s inspired item.
Perfect.
So I'm going to be informing all of you guys pretty soon on that one. Unfortunately, it didn't get delivered because of late ordering from my end. So for those of you who want to celebrate Superman's legacy, Amazon Saudi Arabia, this is not a paid promotion. Amazon Saudi Arabia has a lot of amazing t-shirts and merch for Superman. I have posted their links on my YouTube channel, on my other social platforms. If you're following me on Instagram, make sure to go to the highlights of the stories you will find for Saudi Arabia, for UAE. Order them now because otherwise time is running out fast, and you're going to be missing out on possibly one of the biggest happenings
for superhero fandom, not just in Saudi Arabia but around the world. And the same thing goes for the Fantastic Four, because by the end of the day, Fantastic Four is going to be released on July 25th. So you don't want to miss out on Fantastic Four t-shirts or action figures or cosplay. Whatever you are looking to do, please start ordering now. You can use the links that are there. You can find it in the description of this live broadcast. You can find it on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Now, let's move to the next topic.
Fantastic Four. I can't do the voice, but I got some notes here. Now this is the first family of Marvel. They've had a very long run. For a short time, their comic book was discontinued. I guess they came back a while later. Now the Fantastic Four, as a movie series, they have not had the best of luck. Unfortunately, they've had four movies in the past, and if you guys want to try and recount, yes, four. There was a movie back in the 90s that was not as popular. It was a TV movie, I believe. Was it? I
No,
believe it was.
it wasn't a TV movie. It was.
Oh.
It was yeah.
It had a wide release.
Yeah, but
Okay.
It was released. I mean, there were two movies that were produced around the same time. There was one
Yeah.
Captain America movie in the early 90s, and there was one Fantastic Four movie that was
Yeah.
done in the early 90s, and both
Yeah.
of them were not received
No.
positively at all.
Yes. Now, so four movies, three iterations, because the Jessica Alba iteration had two movies. This is going to be Franklin Richards' very first big screen debut.
Oh yes.
Was that?
Oh yes, Franklin Richards.
Yeah. Which is of course the son of Sue Storm, Reed Richards. Technically, this is the first time we get to see Galactus not be a cloud of CGI. We're gonna get to see him in his outfit, in his huge, weirdly shaped helmet. We're gonna see all of that. Now we don't really know much about the movie in terms of story. We don't know what's happening. What we do know is it's going to take place in certain periods of time, because we do know that Sue and Johnny, or some of them, are going to tell the others that Sue is pregnant. At some point, she's going to have the baby. And we know, for those who've seen the end credits of Thunderbolts, they are going to end up in the main timeline. So if you remember the end credit scene from the Thunderbolts, they look at the screen, the monitor, there's a disturbance in space, a black hole or something is opening up, and they see the ship for the Fantastic Four. They've got the logo on it. They see it. What is that? What's happening? Who's coming? Lots of questions are going to be answered. So we're going to find out, did they leave their universe? Because lots of questions, right? Reed Richards is apparently, while he's drawing on the board, he's studying quantum physics, stuff that has to do with, crossing universes for some reason.
Yes.
And people are very concerned. Then they're asking him, will we be safe? And he says, I don't know, but we will protect you. So a lot of questions. Did these Fantastic Four, did they originate from this universe? Are they from the main timeline? Did they leave to this universe and now they're coming back to the main timeline? We'll find out. People are saying that, and this is coming from people who work in Marvel Studios, but it could be wrong. We could have an end card scene. They're saying there's no Doom in this movie. We will not be seeing Dr. Doom. I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity, because he is associated with the Fantastic Four, sometimes with other members of Marvel, sometimes with Spider-Man, and in the next movie we're going to see him, go head to head with the Avengers. But mostly, I feel like he's associated with the Fantastic Four. He's got a grudge against Reed Richards, right? For a lot of times. So
Reed Richards, two things I just want to add when you were going through your notes. They are not just the first family of Marvel. They are the comic book title that started the Marvel age of comics, that redefined superheroism forever. That's number one. Number two, Dr. Doom is, yes, you are absolutely right, it's an arch nemesis of the Fantastic Four. But there is this personal vendetta, because Dr. Doom, or Victor Von Doom, and Reed Richards studied at the same university, the Empire State University, when they were students.
Yeah.
So that it's deep.
Yeah.
But did you go through my post about why Robert Downey Jr. has been casted as Doctor Doom?
So
Because
I hear.
it's a comic from 2010.
Oh, so is he a variant of Iron Man or of Doom or?
Well, not necessarily a variant.
Mhm.
He might be a variant of Stark, but when I went through it all, I reached the conclusion that maybe this is Victor Von Doom in Tony Stark's body from another timeline.
Oh, okay.
And
Makes sense.
that's how it was played.
Right.
There is this comic. This comic is called Demon in an Armor. Not
Mhm.
the Bottle. Demon in the Bottle was from the late 70s.
Right.
Demon in an Armor, which was written by David Michelini and
Right.
Bob Layton.
Right.
And it was published in 2010. This
Right.
was the first time when they actually tampered with the idea that what if there is a timeline
Mhm.
where Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, is
Mhm.
actually a batchmate of Tony Stark.
Oh,
And in the MCU, they left a gap.
right.
In Civil War movie, when Tony
Right.
Stark was presenting Barf,
Right.
the system of his, this technology of his,
Yeah.
he mentioned that, okay, he studied at MIT.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that we know that the Fantastic Four are going to be entering the main timeline of the MCU from the 1960s,
Yeah.
which means that the prime Reed Richards does not exist in the main MCU timeline.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting. Right.
Then at the same time, when
Yeah.
all of the Infinity War and the End Game is happening,
Yeah.
this Victor Von Doom, who swipes mind between himself and Tony Stark,
Yeah.
and he is basically inside the body of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Okay. He lands in this main timeline and he snatches or robs the grave of Tony Stark from the main timeline after he did the snap.
Oh, okay.
So there are a lot of threads coming out of it, that how can this be? Because for me it's a bit difficult to pinpoint it all, because the moment I feel that okay, this can be done this way, there is another how should I say, thought coming in that maybe it
Right.
might be done in this particular fashion as well.
Right.
So a Doctor Doom who is basically in Tony Stark's body.
Right.
Now, how does that happen? That remains to be seen.
Now here's the thing. I feel like it.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So maybe this prime Doctor Doom, Victor Von
Yeah.
Doom,
Yeah.
was already there in the main MCU,
Oh,
but he was monitoring the events
Right.
about Infinity War and Endgame.
sure.
But to some particular idea or something, he decides that he needs to rob the grave of Tony Stark and
Mhm.
put his mind inside his body,
Sure.
and then do what he has to do.
Now here's the thing. I feel like at some point, this version of Tony or Doctor Doom is going to come to the main timeline, and he's going to go up against whatever version we're going to get of the Avengers. He's going to go against. Imagine him going against Spider-Man. Now Peter looks at Tony as a father figure, right? Imagine him going up against Pepper, or maybe even getting a glimpse of his daughter, Tony's daughter, and her
Yes.
looking up and saying, "Is that my dad? Well, why is he here? Why is he hurting people?"
That's
Um,
it's basically borrowed straight out of Shakespearean drama.
yep.
Okay, and people, we might be ending up with a surprise that something that we came across for Spider-Man Far From Home. Remember
Right.
how they connected Mysterio with Stark Enterprises?
Yep.
So that blew me away. I mean, for a villain like Mysterio, they just upped a notch.
Yeah.
So,
Now, because
yeah,
in the comics, he's a special effects expert in
yes,
movies. Yep.
yes, movies
Yep.
and theater and so forth. But
Yep.
in the MCU, they gave him a very good backstory.
Yep.
So now it remains to be seen that how are they going to be doing that. My hunch is that the prime read from the 1960s,
Yep.
okay, is going to be going up against Prime Doom in the main
Mhm.
timeline, who has been in the shadows, who was
Mhm.
Tony Stark's batchmate at MIT, and
Ah,
he basically robbed his grave, placed his mind inside Tony Stark's body, and
yeah.
now he is basically combining the best of both.
Mhm. Looking forward to it, man.
So, and for those who might be saying that what's the benefit that he will get from Tony Stark's body, well, one thing you need to understand is that our brains have cache,
Yep.
just like a computer has cache.
Mhm.
That's more than enough for Dr. Doom.
Yep. I also remembered something a while back. So remember a series in what is, in my opinion, the best cartoon iteration of the Avengers. It was a show called Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yes,
A-
yes,
And I believe in season 2 they tackled the Secret Invasion storyline.
yes, they did.
And as Tony was trying to figure out what was going on with some people, they were being replaced or whatnot, Doctor Doom came to visit Tony and
Mhm.
to offer his help. Granted, a huge twist that Doctor Doom turned out to be a Skrull
Yeah,
and who planted a virus in all of Tony's technology. But still,
no,
that was a great storyline. They also we already had a Secret Invasion show, which was not so great. But
yeah,
but hopefully we'll get some kind of twist like that, that was similar to that, and see what happens.
there will be, and I just have this feeling that in one of the earlier episodes of our series,
Mm,
uh, weren't able to join us in that particular episode.
mm.
Uh, a lot of the contributors, guests, even audience members, they are saying that they are more excited for the Fantastic Four than Superman.
Oh, well, man, they're both comic book movies, and I hope they both do really well.
Yeah.
Let me offer you a question though. If and this is not happening, but hypothetically, if they
Mm.
both came out on the same day, which one would you see?
Obviously, I'll go with Superman first.
A good answer.
Yeah,
Mm,
because no, the
mm.
Superman is like, uh, the icon, the first
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
Even when I was a kid, I mean, like before I saw Fantastic Four animated series reruns
yeah, yeah,
on South Channel 2,
yeah,
I was introduced to Superman before that.
yeah,
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and all these guys.
yeah.
For those who are in Jeddah, there used to be a departmental store called Al Mukhtar
Mm-hmm.
in
Medina Road.
no inside Medina Road. When you take Shara Arafat and you're going towards the what used to be Iranian embassy,
Yeah,
so it used to be located before that. So they had a very big toy section, and in that toy section they had a huge wall mural which had Super Friends, or
yeah.
the art of Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Oh wow.
So I saw like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman,
Mm,
Shazam.
yeah,
These four I still remember to this day, and I was like maybe 4 years old at the time, maybe.
yeah.
So yeah, I would be going to Superman first if both of these movies would be releasing on the same day. However, one other caveat that I would like to add is that after watching Superman, I would be immediately going to the Fantastic Four. I'm not gonna like do something like, okay, I'm gonna watch tomorrow. No, not like that. Not like that.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. So for the Fantastic Summer, what has been your preparation thus far, Son of Sparta?
Man, like just for one thing, we try to stay away from spoilers, but there are theories out there. We've bought our merchandise, specific to us and our group that we're going to be going with, and hopefully people will join us. But shirts arrived. I don't know if I told you about that. We're going to be.
And if you can provide a glimpse, that would be amazing if it's possible.
Oh, sure. Right now or at the end?
Yeah,
All right.
no, just do it right now. Since we're discussing.
All right, give me a sec.
Sure. Guys, get ready to see the merch that has been arranged by Son of Sparta. So we're going to be going dressed up as the Fantastic Four, even if it's in the form of a t-shirt.
All right, guys. So first off, got shirts here with the new Superman logo. Though I feel like what we're going to be doing, me and our compatriots, we are going to be going out. Some of us with different logos. So we're going to have the Death of Superman logo. We're going to have the Silver Age Superman logo. We're going to have different logos wearing those, but we will be wearing the same logo for the Fantastic Four, and it's the new First Steps.
Amazing, man! Amazing, beautiful.
So I got a couple of these for our group to wear that day. Hopefully they won't be. I haven't told them yet, but I don't like it. Oh, we got sound effect. Unless we got an audience I don't know about. But yeah, looking forward to it, man. We're gonna. I'm debating whether we should wear helmets for the Fantastic, because we got a lot of characters associated with this movie. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, I'm pretty excited. We got lots to look forward to this coming month.
We have, yes, a great deal, and just an insight for those who are trying to come up with a cosplay. Let me try to see if I can find this image and share it here.
Okay, I got one more question for you.
Please.
Now, they are both really big comic book movies from respective companies and studios. Which do you think makes more money at the box office?
Tough question. I think it's going to be Superman.
See, here's the thing, and I feel like Superman, as much as I feel like it needs to make a decent amount of money. At the same time, what's more important, at least to me, and I know it's important to James Gunn, is that this is a good, enjoyable movie to launch his new universe. So
yes,
I feel like if that is accomplished, then hopefully every DC movie after that will also be successful, because they are setting the tone for how this universe is going to be. Is it going to be too serious? Is it going to be a little joyful? Oh, you got something going on there.
Okay. For those who are still stuck thinking how can they cosplay as the Fantastic Four, and they don't have an idea, like, for example, cosplaying as a thing might be difficult or stuff. There is another iteration of the Fantastic Four team, which was short lived but very popular. Beautiful art by Art Adams, as he's known. So there was a particular episode in Fantastic Four history where the original team gets kidnapped. So in come Wolverine, Joe Fixit Hulk, Spider Man, and Danny Ketch Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, so these guys are basically the ones who step in as the new Fantastic Four. This was the idea of Walt Simonson and Arthur Adams. One of the highlights from the 90s, and I'm glad I have the action figures for all four of them. So, if
Nice.
any one of you is thinking that what kind of a cosplay that we can do for the Fantastic Four, this is another good option for it. Sorry, you were in the middle of a question.
Oh, just which one do you think is profitable? But yeah, that's it. We talked about it. Um, but yeah, if we're gonna moving on, one thing we didn't discuss earlier, but if you want to talk about it very briefly, there was a new trailer that dropped yesterday for Ironheart.
Yes.
Do you want
Yes.
to talk about it?
Yes, I will talk about it. I'm glad you raised that.
Mhm.
The thing is, Ironheart, I'm not very much impressed with the character because, I mean, like, it's just trying to force a character. I still haven't accepted uh, Kamala Khan as a proper Marvel superhero because by the end of the day, there are too many conflicting changes to her origin story and so
Mhm.
forth.
Yes.
Same goes for Sam Wilson Falcon. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sam Wilson as
Mhm.
Falcon, but there is something not it's not clicking when
Mhm.
he is Captain America, and people just think that it's a matter of skin color. No, unfortunately, that's not the case. Fortunately, that's not the case because Sam Wilson is not a super soldier experiment like Captain America, like Bucky, and even they tried to have Bucky play Captain America in comics. It still didn't work out, and the
Oh,
reason is that Steve Rogers has a huge legacy. Just like we can't have a Superman who is not Clark Kent, or we can't have a Batman who's not Bruce Wayne. I mean, this is something that people need to accept.
um,
So, yeah.
you want to hear something funny about this? So Sebastian Stan in an interview recently,
Mm.
uh, they asked him, what are you most excited about? And he said, well, at some point very early on in my Marvel career, they promised me that I would become the next Captain America.
Yes, that's very sad. And
But
because
Mhm.
when Marvel Cinematic Universe was actually in its infancy,
Yeah,
this was the storyline that was going on because Captain America had died, presumably was
yeah,
killed in Civil War after the major event that happened in Marvel Comics, not the
yeah,
movie one. And Marvel needed a replacement.
yeah,
So they tried with Bucky Barnes, then they brought in Steve Rogers back. Then one day, when Barack Obama becomes president, they decide, okay, let's make Sam Wilson Captain America. Okay, Sam Wilson, great character. Uh, and again, as I've said, I mean, like, I love him as the Falcon, but uh, there, it's not easy to replace an icon, and Captain America, Steve Rogers, is an icon.
yeah,
So anyways, coming back to the point, what has gotten me excited is the fact that the darkest of Marvel's characters, namely the Hood, Parker Robbins, who was
Mhm.
created during the Marvel Knights era in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and Mephisto, the Prince of Darkness, are going to be debuting in this series.
yeah.
And if these two are going to be involved, this is going to be opening up a Pandora's box that will connect us with Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, what we have seen in Agatha. So this is there.
We got one more character there are theories going on, and I think they're true about who this person is. There's one character who again pops up very briefly, but it's one of those, if you blink, you miss him. Obadiah Stane's son is reportedly in the series.
Zebediah.
Yeah.
Zebediah, yes.
Yeah. So, of course, Obadiah, the Tony Stark's rival in the very first Iron Man movie, taking us back to all the way back to the very first launch of the MCU back in 2008. So, supposedly, his son wants revenge on Stark Industries.
Zebediah is a valuable addition, and especially when you have James Rhodes still part of the MCU.
Yep.
And how does that materialize with Riri Williams? The thing is that, Shuri has a better backstory when it comes to Black Panther than Riri Williams.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what happens in that respect. But I am optimistic. Why? Because I think this series, the reason why it's going to be interesting is not because of Ironheart. It's going to be interesting because of the Hood and Mephisto.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not too excited about the premise of, as we've seen in the trailer, she's going to be mixing the concept of technology and magic. And that's something, Thor has discussed in the first movie. His first movie says, I come from a world where technology and magic are one of the same. So the Riri is supposedly, from what we've seen, she's going to be merging the two into her suits. And I don't know how I feel about that, because they've done a good job of keeping things separate. There was a concept, I don't know if you've seen this. There was a concept that Hot Toys made a figure of Doctor Strange wearing Iron Man's suit.
Yeah.
And it was a deleted scene, and they actually made that into a figure. And I thought, okay, that would have been cool, but Doctor Strange knows magic. Is Riri going to study magic and then also study engineering, and she's now going to be a sorcerer and an engineer? I feel like that's way too much for one person to be learning. But
exactly. They basically took Dr. Doom's highlight, Dr. Doom's characteristic, and put it on Riri Williams, because Doom was the only one who would, because his belief is that magic is science that has yet to be proven.
Yep.
That's why he indulges in the unseen. He experiments with magic, and then he combines and meshes them with technology and science and all that. That was Doom's hallmark. But again, how is she going to be doing that and all that? I mean, they are connecting her with the Hood, which never happened in comics. And they are going, look, as long as the story is makes sense, has a rationale, provides a rationale. My thing is that characters like the Hood and Mephisto's son Blackheart need to be part of the MCU, so that we can have Marvel's horror genre expanded, because the last thing that we saw was Werewolf by Night movie, and that's about it.
Also, one more series that was confirmed that is in current development is, and they haven't confirmed the name of it yet, but supposedly it's going to be called Vision Quest. It's going to focus on White Vision.
Yes.
And they've already hired an actor supposedly to play Tommy, Scarlet Witch's other son that has not been tapped yet in the story. We know that she has two sons. One was Wiccan, who deals in magic. The other one is a speedster called Tommy. So supposedly we're going to be focusing on that. It's going to be the showrunner. Someone I'm very excited to be seeing someone of this caliber, Terry Matalas, who took over Picard season 3 of Star Trek. He's also done other things in the past that were very successful, but he knows his science fiction, so I'm very excited. It's also been confirmed by Kevin Feige that this is going to be the last series that directly ties into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So they are going to do their best to keep things separate. The movies are going to be their own thing. The shows are going to do their own thing. There might be a few hints here and there, but they're mostly going to keep things separate from now on. Which is, I guess, it's a wise decision, because whenever you do any project and say this is tied to something else, you immediately restrict whoever's working on that project. The showrunners, the writers, the cast, they have to stay within the boundaries of that universe. But now they can do whatever they want. If there's no restrictions, if they can't be tied, if they're doing their own thing, I feel like there are no limits to whatever can happen in this show. So
I actually felt a bit sad to hear
Mhm.
that. And the reason
Yeah.
is that, this is the hallmark of Marvel,
Yeah.
where you have, a story being interconnected.
Yeah.
If you're talking about comics, okay, it's not just like, for example, the Avengers are fighting uh, an Kree invasion in New York City, and Spider-Man doesn't know about it, or X-Men
Mhm.
don't know about it,
Yeah.
because there are waves, the effects, they travel
Yeah.
across the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
DC started to do that a bit late in their history, but
Yeah.
this was the hallmark for Marvel. And the same
Yeah.
thing is, when you're trying to make a TV series or whatever, take for example Wonder Man. Now, Wonder
Yeah.
Man is an Avengers
Yeah.
character, and he's going to be introducing, the series is going to be introducing his twin brother, the Grim Reaper,
Mm.
one of the nastiest villains of Avengers.
Mm.
So, how do you restrict these characters into a particular media
Mm.
and not having them involved in the main cinematic timeline, if you will?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is something I don't know. I mean, what exactly did Kevin Feige mean when he said that? But let's see. Let's wait and
Mm.
see. Wonder Man is a series I'm pretty excited to see, even though there
Yeah.
is a race swap. But the actor is a great actor, and Simon Williams is the kind of person that I can basically accept him to be, because he's not an iconic hero,
Yeah.
Spider-Man or Captain America or Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Apologies, I just need to remove something.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's about. This is like these are my 2 cents on it. Now, what else is there? Yeah, you have a thought?
So, Fantastic Four is the last confirmed project with a release date. Now we know that Spider-Man: Brand New Day is in production. No release date yet. They're saying it should come out after the next Avengers. The next Avengers movie comes out in December of 2026.
Yes.
Does that mean there are no movies coming out until then between Fantastic Four and Avengers?
I think not. And the
Mhm.
reason that even if there is a movie,
Mhm.
because they need to start shooting it,
Mhm.
and they might be able to pull something off, but I feel that they moved Avengers Doomsday because it's going to be involving a lot of actors, so it's not
Mhm.
possible to release it in summer.
Yeah.
And what they might do is they might release Spider-Man instead of May. They might release it in July.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, that'd be interesting because I feel like 2026 until then, until the end of the year, is a very light year in terms of movies and things. But they could surprise us from here till then. But we'll see.
Okay.
Mm.
Next topic is the gaming.
Yep.
Was quite shocking, and
Yep.
those of us who are watching us, we're going to be talking about the Comic Con in Jeddah after this. So thank you for watching our live broadcast, to each and every one of you. So gaming was a bit of a surprise, don't you think?
It was, especially since we had so many licensed games tied to Marvel, DC in the past, and it's been very hit and miss, mostly miss recently. But I actually googled what's coming up for video game comic book movie tie-ups,
Right.
and I got zero DC projects, not
Yes.
one DC video game, and this is shocking because we had the Arkham series that was hugely successful,
No doubt.
and the last couple of DC games were Arkham Knights, came out in 2022. Was not so greatly accepted. It was the one where, spoilers, in the very beginning of the game, they kill off Batman.
Yeah.
No.
The VR one. The VR.
No, not the VR one. We'll talk about the VR. It was starring
Gotham
Red Hood.
Knights.
Arkham Knights. Is that what I said?
Gotham Knights or Arkham Knights?
Oh, I think it might have been Gotham Knights.
Yeah, I think it was Gotham Knights.
It was.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It was Gotham Knights because I remember it was named after the show that was going on at the time. People said it's not related to the show. So it had Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood. You can play as one of those 4 characters. People were not too interested, but apparently it had a higher rating than a game that came out a little later, Suicide Squad. And we were told that this took place in the Arkhamverse.
Yes.
But people again were very disappointed because it had the gameplay was incredibly different. It was a third-person shooter apparently.
Yeah.
There was some stealth. I didn't see it in any of the videos because I didn't play the game. But if you, it's on a 90% discount right now on the PlayStation Store. If you go on right now, you can buy it for $9. And this is a game this is a game that came out last year. So
I don't know what they were thinking. What was Rocksteady thinking with
Justice League? But yes, going back to your point about the VR games, there have been 2 VR games tied to the Arkhamverse. There was Batman VR, and there's one that recently came out called Batman, I think, Arkham Shadow, something like that.
Yes.
So both are highly enjoyable. I've played the first one. I'm planning to hopefully get to play the second one sometime soon. I've heard nothing but great things about the new one, so hopefully I get to play that. But then I googled Marvel games, and oh my gosh, this is what came up for me. So, and this is confirmed. No release date yet. No trailer yet. Well, we did have a teaser for Marvel's Wolverine. This is being developed by Insomniac, the same developer that made the highly successful Spider-Man games exclusive to PlayStation 4 and 5 and PC.
Right.
So no release date yet, but we're hopefully going to get some news very soon. Marvel's Blade, we got a trailer for that. It's in development. I don't know if there's a release date. Hopefully they will announce something soon. Marvel's Iron Man, this is being developed by EA. I don't have too much faith in EA, but we'll see. And it's
a VR game.
This is not the VR game. This is something EA announced that they are developing a brand new third-person Iron Man game.
Awesome. Then that's going to be even better.
Yeah. And then something that was recently announced, Marvel Token Fighting Souls. Now, this is a tag team fighting game. That style of playing is very popular in the fighting game community. And I myself, I love to play Marvel vs. Capcom. This is in the same style. You tag in your characters. You can main your characters. You can ask for assists from your other characters. It's very fun. They've only announced a handful of characters so far. But we'll hopefully get some news as it's coming out next year, confirmed date. Something else, Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra.
Which directed by Amy Hennig.
Nice.
Yeah, from
Uncharted.
Uncharted, yes.
Yeah, she did Uncharted. She worked with Naughty Dog, and now she's working on this game. So very excited for that. One game that was sadly, we heard it was canceled. Marvel's Black Panther.
Yes.
Sadly, that was canceled recently. And then something else that is coming out. I haven't heard anything about this one. A new Avengers game not tied to the last Avengers game that was developed by Square Enix.
Yes.
It was okay. Like if you play it and then it was discounted and then discontinued the service for it, it was okay. The gameplay was very repetitive from what I heard, but
No, I played that game and I
Yeah.
finished the main story and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. How was it?
It was a huge lost opportunity.
Oh man, yeah. One good thing about it, I didn't play it myself, but I heard it had a chapter DLC circling or focusing on the Maestro, and that's a character I hope we get to see on the big screen someday.
There's a chapter for Maestro. There's a
Yeah.
chapter for Black Panther and
Yep.
Ulysses Claw.
Yep.
I mean, they could have done loads.
Yep.
Here's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Marvel Avengers, the one that was done by Square Enix,
Yeah.
you lose the interest as soon as you finish the story mode when you defeat Mordok.
Yep. Absolutely.
And there, during that, there are a lot of repetitive environments which
Yeah.
really test your patience, but still you can go on. But yes, there is this rumor that another Marvel's Avengers game is being developed. We don't know who's the developer for that, who's
Yep.
going to be the publisher and so forth, but we need
Yep.
something really good when it comes to the Avengers. We need a Daredevil game, we need an X-Men game.
We are
And
getting it. Oh, I'm sorry. You said Daredevil. We'll talk about the Deadpool VR game.
yeah, the Deadpool VR game, also a very retro oriented game similar to Marvel Token,
Yeah.
is Cosmic Invasion.
Well, this is a side-scrolling game,
Yeah.
and that was recently announced. Well, a couple of months ago, I think. They also announced a handful of characters. Very recently, they announced more additional characters: She-Hulk and Rocket Raccoon. But we're also getting Spider-Man, Venom, Captain America, Wolverine. Those are the ones I can think of right now. But that looks like a fun game. I feel like it might have online co-op, so hopefully we'll get to play it. There's a game called, and I haven't heard anything about this one, Marvel Mystic Mayhem.
I haven't heard. This is the first
Okay.
time I'm hearing about it.
And then there was the Midnight Suns game that we
Oh,
that we
I'm broadcasting that every week on my Twitch.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, it's the best strategy game out there. If you haven't
Yep.
played it, it
Yep.
was released in 2022.
Oh, nice.
Please go to buy it and play it because it's one of the best ever.
Nice. And then recently, very recently, I think a couple of days ago, they announced a Deadpool VR game.
Yes.
And this is going to be voiced by Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes.
And Ryan Reynolds did a hilarious little bit on his Instagram, on his socials, where he pretended to be Doogie Howser and criticizing Neil Patrick. Now, Neil Patrick, for those who don't know, Neil Patrick, this is not his first time voicing a Marvel superhero. He has done the voice of Spider-Man before in a very limited series. In a 12 episode, I believe, or something like that series. Very good. Actually, I've watched it several times. So, and if anyone has access to Disney Plus, check it out. One game that has not been announced that someday soon, hopefully we'll hear something, is Spider-Man 3. Now, they left tidbits towards the end of the game. A third game will hopefully be coming. They haven't said anything. We haven't heard anything confirmed, but the first two games were massively successful. You have to make a third game.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm playing Marvel Spider-Man 2 right now. I'm live streaming it on my Twitch, and the experience has been superb to say the least. And one other thing that I want to add to it is that Ultron has been introduced as a playable character, the first proper supervillain in Marvel Rivals video game. So I'm really looking forward to.
We forgot to talk about that.
I'm really looking forward to basically do a matchup where it's going to be Ultron versus all the Avengers.
Nice.
Because he's a very badass kind of a character, an android, one of the fiercest characters ever produced by Marvel. So that's one other thing that okay. Anything else that you have for gaming or before we move on to the Comic-Con in Saudi Arabia?
No, just that I hope whatever division is in charge of DC Media, please get on making us some games, because you have a huge library of characters, and James Gunn has said he wants to tie in video games with comics, with TV shows, with movies. So this is a very untapped market for DC. Hopefully, we've had a successful run with the Arkhamverse. There have been
Yes.
4 Arkham games, 3 of the main ones, and then there was Arkham Origins made by WB Montreal. Whoever is in charge over there, please get in. There were rumors that they're going to make a new one. Hopefully it's true. But if not, there are so many other characters in DC for you to make video games around, and we've talked about all of them. So we'd love to get our hands on some of these characters and play them and explore a new story focused on them. So please get it there, get it done, guys. We're waiting. Our wallets are waiting.
I second what Son of Sparta has said. We definitely need great games coming in from DC, not just Fortnite skins, as has been recently announced for Superman, David Corenswet Superman, who's going to be a playable character in Fortnite. I don't know if he's going to be able to fly, because some of the gameplay video I came across, I didn't see him fly. So
Did you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just throw a little bit of information for you. Did you know the last Superman game came out on the N64, and it was the most poorly received game in history. IGN gave it a 1 out of 10. So
there was another Superman game that was released in 2006. It was inspired by the Return of Superman movie.
Okay, that wasn't so bad, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is that these 2 games are the only open world games where Superman could fly, use his powers. And we've seen Superman in Injustice. We've seen Superman in which other games? Multiverses, for example. No, if I have Superman not being able to exercise his entire portfolio of superpowers, that is something not exciting.
Absolutely. So hopefully whoever's in charge over DC, get us some new games. I've read a list of 2 pages of new Marvel games coming out. Get us something, whether it's Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. I feel like there's so many stories to tell, so many types of gameplay to tackle. Give us something. We'll play it. We'll buy it. We'll try it out.
Amen to that. Okay, now the elephant in the room, which is that Jeddah season has started since I think now it's in full swing since Hajj has finished. No announcement whatsoever, no hints, nothing about a Comic-Con that's going to be happening in Jeddah. The last one was cancelled abruptly, and they said that there would be a Comic-Con in Riyadh. It never happened in Riyadh, and it never happened in Jeddah. Any update, any news on this?
Oh man, if news, I would ask you, because I don't have the connections you do. But it's sorely missed, because after I lived abroad for a couple of years and going to so many conventions, and I was so happy when I came here and I found out that we were having conventions in the Middle East now, in Saudi. That's amazing. And there weren't any panels, granted, but we got to see high-profile celebrities. We had Zachary Levi, we had other people come over. Michael Rooker was here for a while. I think he came a couple of years in a row. So it's a very fun time to be had. It creates massive job opportunities for vendors, for artists, for people to share their hobbies and their interests. What else? It brings the community together, because in a time where we're separated, sometimes we don't see each other except for work. Sometimes we don't see each other except when there are relatives and gatherings and family gatherings. This brings the community together, right? When I never knew there was a community for comic book people or for cosplayers or video gamers. This brings all those communities together. It also offers a very big learning experience. So we're learning about the makings of comic books, of drawings, of buying and selling these pieces of art. We're learning about what goes into the production of a show or a movie in casting or editing, or sometimes, usually conventions will have panels where you get to ask the celebrities questions. Now, the last couple of conventions tried doing this with varying degrees of success. I hope they do actual rooms, closed rooms, where you get to be in a room with a celebrity. It's not so noisy. You get to talk to them. Usually there'd be a mic. People would line up with their questions. There'd be a person organizing it on stage. He would, ask questions at first for the first couple of minutes, and then people would get their turn to ask questions. So it's a learning experience for everyone. You get to also talk to professional cosplayers and ask them how they made their costumes. How long did it take to make their costumes? What material did they use? Where did they get their costumes from? So there are so many things to benefit having one. And like we said time and time again, the infrastructure over here is, I feel like it can take having 3 conventions in the east, west, and central part of the kingdom. And to say that we haven't had one in I think over 2 years now.
No,
Um,
over a year, because
oh,
2023 we did have a Comic Con.
yeah.
It was 2024 we didn't have a Comic Con in Saudi
Okay.
Arabia. And
Okay.
right now, I mean, the way things are going, we don't have any news, any clues, any information.
So,
There
so
is
probably
no
so.
international company interested to enter the
Mm,
Saudi market to do this,
yeah.
thanks to what happened with in 2022 with the team of Stanley Supercon. So many things, man.
Yeah. So most likely there won't be one. Unfortunately, I'm not predicting. I mean, I'd love to see one happen, but we're closing on the end of the quarter 2. I don't see anyone coming to announce that we're going to have one in the next couple of months. So realistically, there probably won't be one this year. And that's okay. But if someone can get off their behind and organize something, we don't have the funding for it. You have connections for it. I have a little bit of knowledge as an attendee for Comic Con for years in different regions of the world. So I feel like, if someone would like to pay us peanuts to put something together, we would certainly be happy to do it. I mean, more than the money, we'd be interested in making this happen.
No
We'd be
doubt.
interested in putting a decent convention together for the community, because simply because we care, simply because we want to see this happen. It's something that happened in the past. People were very happy about it, and for reasons unknown to us, it went away. And hopefully, we can bring it back, us or others who share our interests. We The bottom line is, we'd love to see it happen again. We'd be there day one.
I couldn't agree with you more. The only thing is, right now, it's like when you talk to the community that are responsible for entertainment,
Mm.
their priorities are pretty limited, and their focus is on sports, their focus is on music, their focus is on um, other genres. But when it comes to this particular segment, we need to do 2 things. Number one is that people need to understand, people need to realize, and people need to accept the fact that Saudi Arabia has a 5 million fandom segment that is dedicated to DC and Marvel, and anyone can simply just crunch the numbers out there because the data is available.
Yeah.
And if we add other pop culture properties that are, that connect with these 2 franchises, whether we add GI Joe, whether we add Transformers, whether we add um, uh, Mario and Game of Thrones and all these, the size just grows exponentially. The cosplay community, unfortunately, in our part of the world and in this country especially, people are reliant on uh, hearsay
and personal observation than data. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two is that everybody wants to play it safe, especially the investor community that's out there. Nobody wants to invest to build a long term successful brand.
Yeah.
It's like, طيب كم مصاريف طيب كم دخل خلاص ما يبغى. It doesn't work that way. Saudi Arabia already is changing on each and every front out there. Whether we're talking about AI, whether we're talking about data centers, whether we're talking about EV, whether we're talking about anything, you name it. And
Right.
yet, despite having successful Comic Cons, events organized, not once, not twice, but more than 3 times, still we are in this position that the local companies, they are just interested to sell as many tickets as possible. I do understand that's the one of the main objectives, but when you are trying to build a sector, when you are trying to create a market at the very first year, at the beginning, you do not see, you do not look at short term profitability. You have to play the long game, especially if you want to reap the benefits from the largest segment in the entire region. And one other thing that I recently learned, that of all the purchases that are being made for action figures, for comics, for statues, for cosplay, the leading customer base is coming from, the two largest customer groups are coming from, number one, Saudi Arabia, number two, UAE.
Yep.
And despite that, even the representatives of American companies here in Jeddah, here in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, are showing no signs of interest. And I can say that with full authority. I approached Hasbro personally here, their director marketing, nothing came about. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's going to be a huge loss for the economy, not just for the fandom, but for the economy. And as you said, you rightly pointed out that it leads to job creation. It allows local talent to interact with international talent. It allows local talent to broaden their horizon, to showcase their art and creativity and expertise. And I don't know what everyone is thinking over here. The moment General Entertainment Authority stopped organizing the events and paved the way for the private sector to step in, things just went downhill.
It's unfortunate, and I hope at some point they see the bigger picture, the benefits that these movies and TV shows and comics and cartoons, all these go hand in hand with the convention. So you'll see people dressed as their favorite characters from these media types, right? And it's a way for them to express themselves. The people who are there, the cosplayers, the artists are there to sell their art, but to also showcase their art. And somewhere down the line, they might inspire a new generation of artists or actors, because we are opening up, media schools right now for people to be actors and directors and production artists and whatnot. So hopefully, and this is an outlet for all those. Even if we were to have, Saudi movies that center around science fiction or heroes or whatnot, this could be an outlet for them to come and talk to the fans and inspire fans and teach fans what they know, teach them your craft. So.
Sorry, I just want to interject, and I just want to add this one part. I
Yeah.
recently interviewed Jimmy Palmiotti, who was part of the Marvel Knights strategy in Marvel with Joe Quesada, and he did great deal of work for Harley Quinn comics and Jonah Hex and all that. He is the proponent, the biggest proponent out there for creator-owned comics.
Nice.
Create your comics, put them on Kickstarter, go for it.
Yeah.
We need guys like Jimmy Palmiotti. We need guys like J.M. DeMatteis, who are, at the helm of creator on comics to interact and engage with those people here, those creators in Saudi Arabia who want to create their own comics.
Yeah.
But how can we do that if we do not have a Comic Con?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it just needs, a company that has, the vision to get a venue, to get some, to hire people to organize it, to get the connections, to get in touch with talent agents, through whatever means, social media or not, and get a good guest list and have it organized and have people come in, have professional photographers standing by to take pictures, have printers available, because I've for years in the States, that's how, the conventions I went to did it. You'd take a picture, come out of the photography booth, and you'd find your picture ready in seconds.
Right.
That's how simple it is. So
Right.
I don't get the complexity of it. I don't get why I didn't see any of that here. Hopefully, at some point someone will do that. But also autographs. Autographs were, there are people, vendors who I got to meet, who their entire business was going around the country collecting autographs and selling them. And it wasn't a huge focus here. I feel like I remember when we met Stephen Amell, we went in and he was kind enough to sign as many things as we wanted, and that was awesome. But back in the day in the States, it used to be you would buy an autograph for one item, and you want something else signed, you'd have to buy another ticket for an autograph.
Right.
So it's very meticulous and well organized in other regions. And I was hoping we'd get there, if not maybe someday excel the type of organization they have. But it seems we've taken a few steps back. And I would love nothing more than to see this come back and for us to have a huge guest list of stars. And, because I feel up until it was canceled, I don't know the numbers. I'd love to see them of how many people actually bought tickets to go. People were excited. I would see people online talking about their cosplays and people buying their airplane tickets and hotel tickets to come here and attend this event. And we just lost it. And so we're hoping that something happens, comes of this. And again, if anyone wants to consult with us, we're more than happy to offer our services. If not, I'm hopeful you guys will do a good job, whoever's in charge. But this needs to happen. You guys gave us a taste of what you're capable of, and then it just went away. So this can happen again. It's not impossible. It's not rocket science.
I would simply make a plea to the president of General Entertainment Authority, President Turki Al Sheikh, and I will just make a plea to him that, okay, you gave the private sector a chance to do these events. I think for the next 5 years, it would be a huge favor to the fandom if GEA takes the lead once again, organizes Comic Con for the next 5 years. Alhamdulillah, now we don't have to worry about things like COVID and all that. Until the private sector matures tremendously, because already, thanks to the World Cup, thanks to so many other developments that are happening in Saudi Arabia, a lot of international companies, event organizers, PR companies are coming into the country. So in the next 5 years, or at least 3 years, I mean, if we are going to be having a place like Qiddiya, if we are going to be having a Transformers park in Riyadh and in Jeddah and in Khobar and so forth, we need Comic Con, and we need it to be done the way it was done back in 2017 with Saudi Comic Con, back in 2019 with Stan Lee SuperCon, back in 2022, despite the fact that there were a lot of challenges thanks to the COVID restrictions that were in place across the world. So if the private sector is currently unable to step up the plate, it is my request to GEA and the esteemed president, Maali al-Rais Turki Al Sheikh, to help the fandom. That's all I can say. I think we have covered everything.
On that note, nothing related to what we talked about, just that because we made a review recently for some Super 7 items, I was hoping to share something. This came out a while ago, but I thought, might be worth mentioning. Now, you remember a show called Silverhawks, right?
Yes.
Now, Super 7 made a figure line of some characters. They also made a toy version of some of their characters. So this is Quicksilver in his very metallic silver toy. This is called the toy version. And I love the varying degrees of silver on this character and the other characters. But this is the first wave. Quicksilver, and I've got Steelheart in the other room.
Beautiful.
So hopefully, Super 7, if you're out there, if you're listening, make us a Mirage. I would love to have that.
Definitely, we need a Mirage.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that's I guess that's everything.
With that, our live broadcast comes to a conclusion, comes to an end. We'll be coming back next month. We'll be aiming to do the live broadcast before the release of Superman movie. So until next time, take care. We hope you had a great Eid. Like this live broadcast, share it with your fellow superhero fans, and we'll be seeing you next month. Till then,
look up.
Look up.